my wife. In fact, my wife didn't tell me.
You wanted to just break it to you at the breakfast table. By the way, Danny, you're bald, and she never did it.
She probably just assumed
never
you
told
knew.
me. Communication issues. Communication.
All right, so I wanted to ask you this question. Last week, I thought of it. What if we play a game here? Would you rather? All right. Would you give up the 2 national championships as a coach to have won one as a player?
No, I'd rather peak when I'm 50 than when I'm 20.
That's a good answer.
That's a good
And
answer.
also, you're intimately more involved than you would have been as a player. I mean, This is all you. I mean, you got the players, you coach the players, so I guess this is a bigger deal, right?
Yeah. I think it's more rewarding. It's more rewarding because you're older. You just have a greater appreciation for like everyone that was part of it. Just like part of your organization, all the contributors. You understand how hard it is to do at this stage of your life. Too, and then you're not as self-absorbed. So like you're getting greater enjoyment out of like what it means to Cam Spencer. And Donovan Clingan and Kamani Young and your dad. And, like you're happier for the people that you see happy for you and you're happy with.
Did you have to coach any different this year than you did last year?
Yeah, I mean, I was worried because I was so much, you're from talking to Jay Wright and Billy Donovan after we won it and some of my mentors was like trying to root out that complacency. And I think at times I went too far and pushed. Like I coached this team way, way harder than I coached last year's team just because I was just maybe going too far to try to root out any type of complacency from having won it last year to the point where maybe you ran into the risk of just pushing the team too hard too soon and running out of gas in March or April. But obviously that didn't happen.
The thing that I find so fascinating, this is the first team to do it since Florida, but Florida returned all 5 starters. This was, I think 5 of your 8 guys left from the first championship. So this is like a whole new deal for guys that weren't there, and then an even more special deal for the guys that were there. Did you coach? I mean, Don kind of touched on this, but physically, did you coach the team any different? Did you run different sets because of the different players?
Yeah, so, like just having the high school background, and then coaching at Wagner, and even Rhodey, I'm not married to a system or a style of play. And I think that's why you see so many high school coaches, doing well in college, because you're not married to any type of system. Because when you're a high school coach or a low Division I coach, you can't really control, do I have 2 bigs? Do I have no bigs? Do I have a great point guard? Your system, you've got to be able to change on a yearly basis based on the best of what you can get from a talent standpoint. So, yeah, I mean, the identity of our team was much different. Last year we had a center in Sonogo that we could throw it into nonstop. This year we had ball screen centers. Jordan Hawkins last year was this incredible movement shooter, the likes of a Klay Thompson. We added Cam Spencer, who was a different type of player. So yeah, I think that the background helps me on a yearly basis not be stuck trying to find players to fit a certain way.
Can you make it 3 in a row?
Yeah, I think so. I know we're going to, since yesterday, we got in here yesterday and started to, break down the roster and which returners we think could be starters and which, returners we think are, bench players or rotation pieces. But yeah, I mean, we'll be strategic with the portal and our recruiting moves here, Mike, and we've got a great formula right now and a lot of confidence. And And we don't even have to be as good as last year or the year before. We can win these tournament games by 6 or 7 points. We don't even, we don't have to be as good as we've been to win another championship. We just have to be somewhere close.
After winning last year, did it show you how to manage the offseason to at least be able to catch a breath before you start recruiting?
Yeah, so the way the calendar works is we're back on the road recruiting tomorrow. The portal closes May 1st. So basically, in between, dinners and parades, we're going to be out on the road recruiting. We're going to be bringing guys, players to campus. Really until maybe the third week of May, and then the staff will get some time off. But, we're going to go into a crazy next, month, 5 weeks, where it's just going to be nonstop, and then we'll get a little bit of time off.
What is in the water, Danny, at Stores? I mean, Gino Auriemma has built, a dynasty on the women's side. There's been 6 championships on the men's side, 3 coaches. I mean, Stores is not exactly, Broadway. How do you guys do it? I mean, what is it?
Yeah. It's like you don't come here for the wrong reasons, right? Like you could go get seduced if you take a visit to one of these big-time places, these incredible weather, and they have these giant football stadium, 110,000 fans come in here. Oh, wow, you're going to get to go to a game here. This place is just, I think it's for serious basketball people. You take the visit. I explain to these kids, we've got now 6 national championships in the last 25 years. That's what your career is going to be measured up against. We'll do everything that we can to help you get to the NBA, but it's not going to come at the cost of us, going and getting our 7th banner here. So, I keep it honest, I keep it real, and this place is for serious people.
All right, so this is the elephant in the room, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. There's a blue blood job that's open. Scott Drew has withdrawn his name. He's going to stay at Baylor. Kentucky job is open. You said you don't want to get divorced, but that is an unbelievable job. You have an unbelievable job, too, but you could actually probably get more money if you went to Kentucky. Is there any part of you that wants to explore it, Dan?
Yeah, I'll say, if I had any interest in leaving here, whatsoever, I would probably just not be doing any media, because I know you're going to ask that question.
Right.
And I don't want to, right? So if I had an interest in any other job, I'd be hiding right now. And, I'm going to be here. I love being here. I've got the job that fits me the absolute best. UConn, Dave Bennett, the AD in the school, they're going to provide us with, they're going to reward us. And then, I think they're going to continue to provide us with the resources, to keep going for these things here. So I'm going to be going for these things here.
All right, so this is a weird thing that I'll say. I love my wife, love her. She's the perfect wife for me. But if Blake Lively walked by, I'd think about it. Did you even think about Kentucky?
No. I got asked that after the national championship game. And
that's a tough time to get asked that.
It's a tough time to get asked it, and it puts you, and your agent probably wants you to answer it in a way that you're not turning it down, but you're not,
right.
But you're not encouraging it. So and you're obviously, back-to-back national champs, and obviously, that speculation obviously helps us in the place that we want to stay.
Right.
To be rewarded for what we've done, and then to continue to double down in terms of the resources we need to stay on top. Because when you're on top, everyone's gunning for you. Everyone is studying you and trying to figure out what you're doing, your model, your formula, the way you're playing, and everyone's gunning for you. Now, they gunned for us this past year, and they didn't get us. But UConn. This place is the basketball capital of the world. We're the best program in the country right now. Why would any besides the players that are going to go into the NBA draft as lottery picks or first round picks? Why would you leave here?
And Coach, that's what I sort of assumed your answer would be. Does any part of you feel motivated to continue to do what you're doing at UConn? So the question almost becomes silly. Like, why would... Because I said to Michael when he brought it up, I went, but why would he leave UConn, who to me is also a blue blood, to go be in Kentucky when he already has a program like that? Do you feel like with running this program the way you have been for the next couple of years, maybe that conversation goes away because UConn can just be considered the all-being everything in college basketball?
Well, I think in a way it does. It feels like insulting. I'm sure it's insulting, for Coach Calhoun and Gino and the fans and just everyone here is like, right now UConn is the premier program in the country. But what is the conversation? And then for me, I think I've gone back I've been all over the place on at some point down the road after, hopefully we continue to be top of sport. The NBA thing, if there was an organization that would allow me to coach, I would. That was something I would like to do someday after continuing to push it here to see, if I could have the same success there.
It's interesting you said that, Dan, because I heard an interview that PJ did with Billy Donovan, and Billy Donovan said the thing that he misses most about college is that you really can't coach in the NBA. You coach in college, you teach in college, and in the NBA, he said it's not that way. He said these are professionals, you handle them differently. Is that your feel too, that the NBA is just tough to teach?
Well, I think there's some organizations you look at, and the Spurs and Miami Heat, where Spoelstra and Pop. And I know Tibbs is coaching. I know Tibbs is coaching those guys hard. I mean, so I think there are some organizations that'll let you do it. Obviously, you're not coaching a 27-year-old with an advanced skill set and incredible motivation the way you're coaching a 20-year-old kid who's unprofessional and clueless, right? Like, so you're not, yelling and screaming in a shell defensive drill the way an advanced player. But the coach should be the one that sets the bar on a daily basis of how hard you're going to work and what the tactics are, and motivate the team to try to win every single game on your schedule to be the number one seed.
I watched the games that you coach, and I mean. I've had vocal cord surgery. I mean, just from screaming "see you" during Yankee games. You're yelling like straight the whole time. How do you not lose your voice, Dan?
Well, I drink. I got the Wise 8 tea, which I drink. It's a small company in New Jersey. They got like the best green tea ever with some honey. I'll drink that at halftime. I think I just I do it. I coach every day. I mean, we start practice in June, and we from June those 2 months, and I coach June and July like it's October. It's North Jersey. It's Bob Hurley Sr. It's North Jersey basketball coaches. It's just built in there, and that's why, I see the stuff on social media, the people that are horrified, by my intensity and just people like this. But that's usually like some analyst that grew up in Southern California, or did not watch like Tolentine versus St. Anthony, or Christ the King, or Gary DeCesar at St. Raymond's versus St. Anthony, one guy getting screwed over on the other guy's home court. They don't understand North Jersey and New York City basketball.
You ever have a kid, a player on your team go, "Coach, what are you yelling? I got it."
No, because they all had to watch it on a visit. I make these kids, Mike, watch us practice like a real full-on practice.
So it's no surprise to them.
So this is no surprise. Like Steph Castle, like his dad grew up in Queens, played at Wake, played at Wake Forest, like tremendous family. And it's like, I want these kids to come on campus, see how hard we're practicing on June 10th, and say like, yeah, that's what I want.
Steph Castle, is he going to go into the draft? Is he a lottery pick, or you think he needs to stay another year or so?
You know what? I think he's got and we'll get together, tomorrow or Monday, with him and Donovan to have those conversations. But he's like old soul, old school parents with a work ethic and a passion for basketball and a humility. I think he's going to be a lottery pick. He'll make that decision and assessment with his family. I'll tell him what I think, but I think that kid has got like the makeup to. You just pray he gets picked by a great organization, because we had a kid a couple of years ago, James Bouknight, that was an absolute stud, and we're trying to find a landing spot for him back in the NBA. He's back on campus with us. We're training with the coaching staff, kind of getting his stuff together. But he was a high lottery pick a couple of years ago, but did not go into a great situation. This is a guy who, borderline all-star level talent that is right now out of the NBA. So. I'm gonna let everyone know the concerns I have for them if they don't have their what together.
Coach, were you blown away with the Caitlin Clark story this year, and how much crossover do you think there could be into the WNBA next year, and also to continue on in the women's college game?
Yeah, I just think that they, the way that they. First of all, it's great for basketball, and it's great for all of women's sports, and it was incredible to watch. Somebody of her caliber, and that's the difference between the women's game and the men's game. Is a men's player that plays that well is likely to be gone really, really quickly, and you'll know that the WNBA is where the WNBA wants it to be. When players like that. Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark, when they leave after their sophomore year, that's where you'll know where the WNBA has it where it wants it to be. But yeah, I think it was great. They did a lot of things that the men's game don't do. The way ESPN marketed, Caitlin Clark this year, it drove the ratings. I think that the channels that the Fox and ESPN, the channel, where we play, they don't market us like that. Maybe it's because the players leave so quickly, but I think there's stories out there like Klingon's that we're not told that didn't drive our ratings. I also think that we do a lot of things to hurt the college game ourselves. We shoot ourselves in the foot with G League Ignite and Overtime Elite. I mean, we actively work against ourselves in college basketball. The transfer portal opening up while the NCAA is just starting. Crazy. Coaches making moves like during the Final Four to take away from the game, playing at 9:30 at night on TBS. On a Monday night, playing at 9:30 is not going to drive ratings. Not being on CBS like we would be at 8 o'clock. I know that was a lot, but Coach K told me to speak up. So if anyone's pissed,
blame Coach K.
Told me to do it.
Because I was going to ask you, and you were able to answer it all. That is an issue. Good on the women that get the rating that they're getting, but also how can the men's game be more pleasing to watch? Because we do hear that, Coach, sometimes that hey, the women's game just seems to be a little bit more interesting. The players stay around a little bit longer. Maybe the way the game is played is a little bit more interesting. All things that you really I think just touched on, and how the men's game can be better.
Yeah, you get to know them. You get to know them over the course of years. They go in the portal there, but I don't think it's at the rate of ours. In terms, it's fans of programs and fans across the board, if they can't keep track of who's on what team, that becomes an issue. And but we need a commissioner, for our game, and it's awesome to watch. I mean, I obviously I have a chance to see Gino, the genius of Gino, and the incredible women that play here, and to watch them sell out almost 100% of their games in both 10,000-seat arena in stores and then 15,000-seat arena in downtown Hartford. It speaks to the power of the women's game, and college basketball in general, I think, is an incredible product that men's just has to do better with.
I'm so happy for you, Dan. I really am. Congratulations. Hopefully I'll see you again at Yankee Stadium. You'll throw out a first pitch, and then you come up to the booth. But I know you're somewhat superstitious, so you have to do the same thing as last year, right?
Yeah, I'm not. It's unbecoming as the defending champs to bag the Yankees, but to throw it to that was the best day. Maybe that was up there with the White House. Just you go behind the scenes with the organization. I mean, that was an eye opener. That the food in that suite too, man.
Oh, are you kidding me?
And the Royals, man. I asked my Dobo guy here, Paul Wetterman, to just check when the Royals are coming in. And see if we can't try to get that, repeat that.
There you go. Because of the George Brett connection. I get it. Yeah, sure. And then, of course,
I was good in the booth, too. I was good in the booth with you guys, right?
You were excellent. Yes is thinking about, trying to make an offer to get you into the booth full-time and leave the college game. You could do it, you and O'Neill and me.
Well, yeah, the pace that I'm going at here, the maniacal sideline, and the way we're pushing here, I probably got another 5-6 more years before I burn out. So I'm going to need a third act.
Now you got it. We got a landing spot at yes. Thank you, Dan, and congratulations.
Thanks, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thanks, boys. Later.
That's Dan Hurley, head coach of UConn. He's honest, man. He said the right thing. If I'm thinking about going to Kentucky, would I actually come on and do interviews? Because you're going to be asked, and if you're asked, you're going to lie. Now, there are some coaches that don't mind lying. Remember, Rick Pitino said, I'll never coach another game after Iona. That didn't turn out to be the truth.
Right. No, but he doesn't seem like that kind of guy. And then he volunteered. After that, he volunteered to us that the thing he would want to do is go to the NBA.
Right.
He really just brought that up on his own.
And he's got something that's very, very difficult to accomplish. He is very, very confident without it coming off as too cocky.
I agree.
But he's very, very confident.
He's confident, and he's also kind of serious, but he's also not he does not have that mean, holier-than-thou, winning coach thing.
Because he's Jersey City. He's real.
Is that what he is?
Yeah, he's real.
Hey, by the way, I'm kind of proud. I've literally watched that guy's, I don't want to say his whole career, but in the infancy of my ex-wife's career, she was the sideline reporter at Wagner. So I was sitting there. I don't even know what cable channel I was watching these Wagner games years ago, seeing this guy. So to see where he's made it, it's an unbelievable story.
And he is, he's done it, player, high school coach.
Yeah.
He's a high school coach.
Oh, yeah.
Wagner, Rhode Island, UConn. And he could go to Kentucky if he wanted to. All he had to do is make a phone call. And you know what he was saying about his agent? Don't shut it down. Just flirt. And that's why UConn will pay more money. But he couldn't bring himself to do it.
He wants to stay here.
Yeah.
But give me more money, of course.
But maybe they know, and they'll just give him more money anyway.
But I also liked his answer that, it's almost a little insulting that people act like he should be going somewhere else.
No, UConn's pretty special.
They won back-to-back championships.
So they have 6 titles, and I think the women's team have 10. They're doing okay.
Yeah,
all said and done, it's the greatest basketball school ever.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This show's unbelievable. And so many people, Ken, Anthony, Richard, Joseph, Mike, Danny.
Richard?
Yeah, Richard's waiting.
Okay.
And we'll get to all of you. We promise right here on Yes and 98.7 ESPN.
Get tools that bring every angle of your beauty business together. Clients can book online 24/7 for multiple services and multiple staff, so scheduling is simple. And with client notes and stored payments, you can offer seamless checkouts, so clients keep coming back. Run your beauty business with tools that bring everything together. Get started at square.com today.
This year, we're giving you a clean slate with fresh, better-for-you ingredients and an easier way to cook. Dinner time just got a whole lot better for you. So sit back and enjoy.
Rebag, the way luxury resale should be. A curated selection of investment pieces to treasure today or sell tomorrow. Instantly refresh your collection. Get 10% off your first purchase at Rebag.com with code REBAGTV. Rebag, the way luxury resale should be. Invest in pieces you've always wanted or trade them for a new find. Access limitless luxury. Get 10% off your first purchase at Rebag.com with code REBAGTV.
The magical time between school letting out and dinner is a piece of chaos. These 4-serving meals make everything so much easier.
Home Chef's family menu. Get 18 free meals at homechef.com.
Masterclass. You've probably seen the ads. Yep, that's the logo. Online classes with some pretty amazing people, and new ones added all the time.
Oh, that's who that is.
With thousands of lessons to choose from, you can pop in for a quick recipe or binge an entire class to learn to make an entrance, make a movie, make your best friend sit. Make something happen.
Who's out here cracking up? You.
It's everything you ever wanted to do, taught by the best to ever do it. Masterclass.
I'm Jesse's uncertainty, and I really thought house projects were my time to shine. One little, are you sure? He gets stuck before he even got started. But Jesse's changed. Because of Thumbtack. With their guides, he knows exactly what to do and who to hire. And his house is looking great. Where does that leave me?
Uncertainty doesn't live here. You do. Take care of your home with Thumbtack. Download the app today.
My name is O'Neil Trinidad, and I want to live.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay and how fast you can get started.
Step into the world of Golden Nugget Online Casino. With all the slots and table games you love, feel like you're on the casino floor no matter where you are. Score rewards by playing your favorite games and get your winnings almost instantly with lightning-fast withdrawals. So what are you waiting for? Have a great time in your downtime. Download the Golden Nugget Online Casino app and get started today with this great offer.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your life, your career, and everything in between that we've uncovered. They're all centered on numbers. Some of the numbers might be familiar to you, but they all add up to tell your story. So, Nick, are you ready?
I'm ready, dude.
You're ready.
I was able to have my father's number within mine.
Is it true you signed over a pasta meal cooked by your grandmother, Jenny?
Joe came over to my grandma's house, and we signed a contract, and we had pasta that day, and I literally had completely forgot about that. That's pretty cool.
I'm so grateful that it happened the way it happened. This is how you need to go out, leave it all out there. It was perfect.
What do you want fans to think about when they see the number 23?
I wanted to be somebody different on the field, the window into how I feel about playing out there.
How do you know all this? What was going through my head was soak this in.
The story of my number, presented by the New York Lottery.
show, everybody? We really should have Danny Hurley come in and host.
He's very good.
He's that good.
Yeah, I like Dan Hurley. I just, listen. He's a handful on the sideline for sure. Very passionate coach. But I enjoy having him because some coaches that are that successful rub me the wrong way. They kind of treat everybody like they're coaching you. Like you have to treat them like a deity. He doesn't give that energy.
Well, a guy who is a coaching deity is Mike Krzyzewski. He cursed and yelled all the time at players.
He was a maniac.
But I guess it didn't look like he was yelling the way it looks like Danny's yelling. But even his practices, he's cursing. I mean, he came from the Bobby Knight School. That's where he learned. So a lot of coaches do that.
Well, and Coach Hurley's close with Coach Krzyzewski as well, as he just referenced him moments ago.
Let's go to Ken in Connecticut. Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, guys. So, just two real quick things. I have a New York sports just question for you. Danny Hurley, I'm a UConn fan. I live in New Milford, Connecticut. I am so glad that he is our coach. He's the most down-to-earth dude. That was one of the best interviews that I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, he was great. He was absolutely tremendous.
And also, Michael, yesterday you were saying, not to get morbid like with OJ and all that, but you were saying yesterday how you didn't think you'd be remembered, after you go. I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old boy. I let the 4-year-old watch the Yankee games with me, at least until his bedtime. He knows your name. He knows your face. You will be remembered. And he's in awe that I get to speak to you sometimes. So, just saying.
Well, thank you, Dan. Ken, but I will tell you this. If, God forbid, I left this, earth today, your 4-year-old wouldn't know who I was in 2 years.
It's such a weird way of looking at things.
Well, you know what? It's a realistic way.
No, I mean, you've never... think about how often you get mad at me and reference things that happened before I was born. Oh, you didn't know that the World War I happened? They would know if they're Yankee fans. They would know who you were.
Forgotten.
But they're young.
Oh, isn't Rucco great? That's what. That's
it. That's all they're saying.
But both could be true.
Ryan would be next.
I didn't forget Bob Murphy.
There are some people now, young people, they don't know who Phil Rizzuto is.
Okay, but some do.
But my kids, if Marco cares about broadcast. And I'm going to tell him about Bob Murphy.
And Richard.
Fellas, Michael, we spoke a few days ago about elite starting pitching, and I said with the Yankees start, you questioned Cole being as important as we would think. You refuted, but look at Montgomery and look at Snell. Maybe there's a different market on elite starting pitching.
No, they're not elite.
Okay.
Garrett Cole's elite.
Okay, gotcha. All right. As far as OJ, his second most biggest moment in New York in his history was at Shea Stadium in '73 when he went for over 2,000 yards and 3 feet of snow. It's ironic that happened at Shea Stadium. Mm-hmm. Anyway, his first 2 years mirrored Bill Bradley. They were great college players, but his first 2 years, like Bradley, he wasn't that great at Buffalo. But then, of course, he took off in the third year. And this is a parallelism. Peter, you'd be interested in this. Just as OJ was the greatest, next to the JFK killing, greatest national killing in the United States. Yesterday, the lady who was Kitty Genovese, and if you don't know that name, Peter, you can look it up.
I know the name Genovese.
She was the girl involved in a murder in New York City. Well, her roommate died yesterday, almost 60 years to the day. And it was such an uproar, 1964 in New York City, in Forest Hills, in her courtyard, in her apartment building. Nobody came to her help. She was screaming. It's ironic that O.J. would die the same day as that case occurred 60 years ago. O.J.'s case, of course, was 30 years ago.
Very interesting, Richard.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah. Wow.
I was out there, man. I got to be honest.
I just love how when he, imagine a world in which you make a point. You're making a point. The point is purposefully provocative. You're saying something to elicit a response, and when the person responds, you just go, yeah, okay. Anyways,
I mean, he's comparing Jordan Montgomery to Garrett Cole.
That was
the least weird part of the call.
That
was the best point.
Took from the call.
That was maybe the most normal point.
Kitty Genovese. I mean,
I don't understand. But then the second you respond, he just goes, okay.
Well, some of that laughing gas himself.
But like you said, now we know why he's single.
That is true, though. You cannot have.
Are you sure he's single?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you weren't around last summer, one day he told us
the code.
He was looking for love still.
Yeah.
And he said he still was potentially interested in having children.
Yes.
How old is he? Was he Tony Randall?
Or Al Pacino or Robert De Niro. But the thing is, to Don's point right now, until you understand how to have a back and forth conversation, you can't really hope to have a successful relationship. And by the way, guys, this is very, very important. Let me get right to it right away. Hold on. Everyone wait. Everyone wait there.
Stand by.
Stand by. Oh, here we go. I got it. Tigers 1 under through 1, guys. 1 under through 1.
So he birdied the first.
That's right.
All right, so somebody in our, we have 9 people that work on the show at Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a skeleton staff here at ESPN.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but.
Yeah, well, it's Anthony and Jacob. That's it.
Yeah.
We have 9 people making it work at Yes. And one of them said Tigers never missed the cut.
He only withdrew.
At the match. He withdrew.
Yeah, never missed the cut.
But his body's never been ravaged.
I think he's going for, I think this would be 26 straight that he's going for.
Now, is this just an act, or do you really care about this guy?
No, it's not an act. I absolutely really care. I don't care about him I don't know him personally. I've never met the man. But in terms of athletes that I still have that kind of childlike rooting for, if Tiger were playing on Sunday, I would not leave the house. I'd be watching all day.
He might be playing on Sunday. I mean, really, he's 1 under now.
Well, listen, I mean, the Masters.
He looks great. And that course is made for him.
It's made for him.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have to put his body through a lot this weekend. He could do it.
So, Don, let me ask you a question. I'm curious your thoughts. If, in fact, they move the 4th round, the final round of the Masters, to your backyard, Tiger's about to win, would you watch?
In your backyard.
In your backyard. Draw the curtains open a little bit.
It's not some random player. It's literally Tiger putting in your backyard.
Tiger's playing in your backyard.
I would charge people to park and to watch.
Like Trey Wingo.
But Sunday, we're going to see Bluey. So
you can't miss Bluey.
I'm not missing Bluey.
Now, what about you?
Me?
If
I would watch.
On Sunday,
I'm off this weekend, so
if he's in contention Sunday, you'll be watching.
Yeah.
Okay. I honestly,
you won't even turn it on.
I don't care.
Would you not?
I won't know.
Hold on. Hear me out.
You get back from Bluey.
You get back from Bluey.
It's been a tour de force.
Because he won't be finished up to 7:45, 8 o'clock.
No, it's a tradition like no other.
Well, no, and he's teeing late. So even then, it's so light. 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
Him, Koepka, and Justin and Rory. They're coming down the home stretch. Is Rory even playing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. The three
he needs this one. This is the last thing he needs for a career Grand Slam.
So they're fighting down the final 3 holes.
Mm-hmm.
And you in our group text we go, oh my God, this is unbelievable. They're going stroke for stroke. You still won't turn it on.
Wouldn't even occur to me, no.
No, it's occurring to you because we're telling you. We're saying, hey, it's on.
What if we text you and go?
We're saying it's
Tiger might be making history.
I would text back, I'm good.
What if we said...
And then I'd make sure I read up on it so I can talk about it the next day.
Like a professional.
But I would have zero interest.
Even, we said he's now in full-on pain. He can barely get up. He's crawling along it's the most dramatic thing we've ever watched. You're good.
I'm good. There might be a documentary on the history of the product. Nair.
I don't believe it. I actually don't believe it.
No, I would.
So you've never watched before?
If it was on, if I was at a function and it was on, I might glance at it. I can't express to you my complete lack of interest.
You know what bothers me about the Masters, though, and I know it's on.
Stop it! You have sports like that too. If I had a thread, Michael, that said we're down to the last lap of the Daytona 500, it's covered. You would be like, thanks. I
don't know if you told him it was a great story.
He wouldn't care. Yeah, I wouldn't ask him to care. Maybe what happened to Dale, you might want to check it out. But if I told you there's a thrilling race down to the last lap, you would text back, I'm good.
No.
Matter of fact, I know you so well, I wouldn't even bother including you on the thread.
Why would it hurt me to not? I was just turning on a look. You're just being obstinate.
Mm-hmm.
Now you Peter, you're making ice noises.
I want to apologize. It's almost unavoidable. Now,
I told you.
But what Peter did was this.
No, that was.
Well, yours was pretty darn close just now.
I don't know what to tell you, Michael. I'm consuming a delicious beverage.
I can actually hear. the band playing on the Titanic when you guys do stuff like that?
I think it was bigger ice than that.
Jack in Brooklyn. Jack.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I kind of want to talk about the Ohtani situation. I think there's a big piece of information you guys are missing about the reason why the story changed at the beginning.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, Ohtani himself has always been constant that he was robbed. The only person who ever said that Ippei didn't steal the money was Ippei himself in that interview. So I don't think the story actually changed from Ohtani's perspective.
But here's the part that you're missing, though, Jack. It was Ohtani's people who set up that interview. Why?
Yes, that's true. But if you actually read the report from the beginning, the only person in Ohtani's camp who speaks any Japanese is Ippei. So whenever Ohtani is dealing with his team, whether it's business or PR, Ippei is the go-between. And the reports actually said that Ippei was the one who set up the interview, and he was actually manipulating, I guess, Ohtani's team into believing that Ohtani was okay with it. But the reports do say that Ippei, Ohtani had no idea.
You know what? Listen, I hope he has no idea. I love watching him play. I hope that he plays a long time and is not stained at all. But there are a lot of really big question marks. They're just
you have to at least admit that.
You know what? Ippei went in front of the Dodgers in South Korea and told them he has a gambling problem. And the story is that Ohtani doesn't understand English, but picked up certain parts and confronted Ippei in the hotel. This guy has been in the States 7 years. He can't understand any English whatsoever. 7 years. It's not like he visits here.
It can't be true.
Because you know what? Ichiro always used an interpreter. Absolutely fluent in English. Fluent. Jim Cott came up to him one day at the batting cage at Yankee Stadium and said, "How you doing?" He goes, "Couldn't be better. You're my brother from another mother." This is in fluent English. You telling me that Ohtani can't speak English?
No, maybe. I don't know.
It's a great point. You know what?
It's convenient.
Could be point God.
All we're saying is something doesn't hit right, but it doesn't mean that he gambled. It just seems odd. It seems very strange, and it's very convenient to say, well, he doesn't speak any English, he didn't know. All that plays out because he has an interpreter, obviously. But it could also be just very convenient to say, I didn't know what was going on.
Well, and before you Shohei Maniacs call up and jump me, all I'm saying is I want the guy to answer questions. Why has he? And forget about even the gambling. I said this earlier. The gambling never happened with Ippei. It never happened. Hey, what pitch did you hit for the home run? What's it feel like to hit a ball 470 feet? He doesn't have to answer any of that. Aaron Judge had to stand after flying out with the bases loaded and the Yankees lost yesterday. He had to stand and answer questions.
It's very odd.
Francisco Lindor slumping. He answers questions every single day. One man in baseball gets away with it. That's my biggest gripe. Why does he get away with it? Why is he allowed to skate? Do you believe, when you sit down and you're honest with yourself, that even the most media-friendly ball player, that they really want to do that interview? Really?
No.
But they all do it because they have a responsibility. And they'd rather leave the ballpark and go home, be with their family, be with their wife, play with their kids, but they stay there the extra 20 minutes and they talk with the media. This guy doesn't have to do it. Why? Somebody from baseball, tell me why. Somebody from the Dodgers, tell me why. Why does he not have to speak after every single game? With the Angels, the only time he spoke was after he pitched, even though he's playing every day, but after he pitched. So when he's playing, he's not an integral part of the game? None of it makes sense to me. So come at me. All you Shohei maniacs, come at me. Because everybody that said on social media, I'll make sure Michael K sees that Ippei is at fault. Never said he wasn't. Never said that Shohei was at fault. I would want to ask him, how could all of this happen without you knowing? Have you fired every financial person in your employ? Have you fired your agent? Have you fired everybody? Everybody got snookered by this guy. This guy is a criminal mastermind. You see the haircut he has? With a haircut like that, he's a criminal mastermind.
He might be.
Cuts his hair with a shoe.
$140 million. This guy gambled. $140 million. Nobody knew. Nobody. Clueless.
It's a wild.
And I'm not even saying it should be a Shohei. The people that work for him, that have his back.
I wouldn't know. But Nancy would.
Nancy would know. She might be in on it.
Well,
you would be Shohei.
Yes.
You could actually stand there and go, I had no idea.
If it was
Nancy
was epic, but if somebody else, Nancy would be like, something's going on here.
Right.
Well, like his new wife. Would his new wife want to check the book?
She just joined the group, though. I mean, maybe she's the one who spurred it. I don't know. We'll be Anthony screaming at me in front of all the FUV people.
That's not right.
All the FUV kids. So he's showing off. He's flexing.
He's feeling it.
Yeah, he's flexing. Break. All right, we're going to break on yes at 98.7 ESPN.
See everything your restaurant can do with tools from Square. Get a POS that connects to a KDS so you can handle orders ASAP. Reach more customers with online ordering and QR codes. Use pocket-sized hardware so you can turn tables faster. And get one account for everything so you can take care of it all and take it easy too. Get your all-in-one restaurant system and sign up at square.com today. See everything your store can do with tools from Square. Your inventory automatically restocks, so you never run low. Your online store stays open 24/7, so you're always ready to sell. Your payments are processed in seconds, so customers can breeze through checkout. And with one account to manage it all, you've got more time for taking time out. Get your all-in-one retail system by signing up at square.com today.
With ButcherBox, you never have to worry about what's for dinner. We deliver grass-fed beef, organic free-range chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. Get high-quality meat sourced from trusted partners with free shipping always, so you can always be prepared and enjoy the important things. Sign up for ButcherBox today.
I have to find a babysitter.
I have a lot of questions.
When can they start? Today? Now? How about Saturday? Are they background checked?
My wife and I haven't been out in a year.
We need a date night. No offense.
Find all the care you need at care.com.
And as the biggest breakthrough in essential fatty acids since omega-3, Fatty 15
means you don't have to take gross fish oil.
Exactly. With 3 times the benefits, Fatty 15 cell-repairing activities
help you actually feel better. The single pure ingredient in Fatty 15 delivers improved metabolic, liver, heart, and immune health you can feel.
To learn about improving cellular health
and long-term whole body wellness, see the benefits
and nerd out with us
at fatty15.com.
Don't work for your money, let it work for you.
What money?
You're behind with student debt. Your budget is basic.
Let's go.
You're going to be lost, left behind. You buy low.
Payroll's late.
I've got 16 money apps.
I got a budgeting dashboard.
Managers don't avoid it.
Try this app. It's Albert. It's got banking, savings, investing, and budgeting all in one place. It's simple.
Simple.
Put it on the rest. Put it on the rest. Put it on the rest.
Never read a line of poetry, I'm not a poet, but I sit up in the back, I'm hitting buttons cause I'm fresh. Never read a book on how to rip it, I just saw it, I don't need your explanation cause I'm better than the rest. Better than the rest. Better than the rest. Let me take you for a ride. I can make you feel alive.
Call anonymously, and it's okay if it turns out to be nothing. Work together with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey to keep our transportation facilities safe. Visit PANYNJ.gov to learn more.
Sorry, guys, that took me for... What is this?
Well, you know how our T-Mobile home internet can slow down?
Uh-huh.
Turns out, walls can get in the way. So I fixed it.
So instead of getting a Spectrum internet, which is fast and reliable 24/7, you got us internet that can be blocked by walls.
Yes, but I think I fixed it.
By smashing a hole through our wall.
Well, technically, walls.
Yeah, I might not want to go in the dining room.
Don't settle for T-Mobile cell phone internet.
Kids are natural.
This is why I don't leave the house.
Get faster, more reliable internet speeds with Spectrum.
There are trucks, and then there's the GMC Sierra, available with the connected driving experience and the world's first 6-function multi-pro tailgate. GMC Sierra, It's the truck. Or get $6,000 purchase allowance when you trade in an eligible vehicle. That's 10% below MSRP on select GMC Sierra models. We are professional grade GMC.
Vehicle breakdowns are costly.
It started making some really weird noises.
If your check engine light comes on tomorrow, the repair could easily cost thousands.
Here's that transmission.
But with Endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a costly repair again.
They covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
$1,400. Endurance paid it.
Who's going to pay for your next car repair? You or Endurance?
Call right now to get $300 off any plan. Call now.
The Michael K. Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
Just texted me and said, just FYI, Shohei gave a speech at the baseball writers' dinner in January in fluent English.
Okay, so
he just picked up parts of what Ippy was telling the team, just parts, because he doesn't really. I mean, people are driving the narrative, and people are buying it.
And I get it. If you're a Dodger fan or if you're just a baseball fan and want this to go away, I'm sure baseball's probably thinking the same thing. But it just, anybody that'll tell you that doesn't have any dog in the fight, and we don't. If anything, Michael, we want to see Ohtani be cool and play and not have this issue. The whole thing stinks. Just does.
There's no other way to look at it. Danny in Long Island. Danny.
I thought I was in a glum mood till Richard's phone call. Hey, Rich, the Manson killings are coming up soon. Maybe you want to drop that into the conversation about the Rangers Stanley Cup.
And listen, I just want to reveal a little bit, Danny. I'll let you continue. Off the air, he had other theories that didn't make the air that would have blown your mind.
And might have gotten a permanent ban on the show.
It's two things on my bucket list. Bring you guys All-American Burger. They can fill you in, Mike, as to what that is. And two, have lunch with Richard from Manhattan. I have to get there. I have to see this. I have to know what this is all about.
Let's kill two birds with one stone. Invite us out there. We'll pick Richard up here in the city.
I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to get them nice and hop, jump myself on the Long Island Railroad one day, and be there for the pregame meeting. How about that?
And we'll invite Richard, and we'll just have him there to partake.
Or why don't we just go to Richard's office and have him put us under?
Yeah, do you need a cleaning?
Listen, can you imagine what the scene was like at CNN or anybody else today? You have your whole days planned out, the best laid plans of mice and men, right, John Steinbeck? And then the phone rings, and all hell breaks loose. Somebody's yelling up, find out where Cato Caitlin is. Like, Cato's been waiting for this for 30 years. All these people that were on the tips of our tongue 30 years ago that were in our living room every night that you haven't given a thought about are now going to be 24/7. Maybe I give it about 2 or 3 days, full coverage. The White House offered their condolences today from the podium at the press conference to a murderer.
What?
What world am I living in?
No way. Did they
Front
really?
page of the Post right now. Front page of the Post right now. And I don't want to make light of the death of two people, but if that didn't happen, you know what we would have been spared of? The Kardashians. The entire Kardashian empire would never have happened if that crime didn't take place. He was the first lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
We owe it all to OJ.
I'm curious to see what the actual quote from the White House press secretary was.
My condolences to the family.
But were they asked about it?
I don't know, but they didn't mention the victims as well. They didn't say that. Even if they were asked a question, they didn't say.
In all fairness, though, I wonder if Corinne Jean-Pierre came out there expecting to talk about OJ. Or if someone goes, any comments on and they go, oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm just curious. No disrespect to the New York Post.
You can. I was in quotations. I checked. I know what to look for. But anyway. 30 years ago, guys, what a scene. I don't know what to say. It just brings back so many. It really was the change of broadcast news. It became live 24 hours a day. The trial, there was the first trial that was broadcast, so we got it every day for some reason. I don't know. Peter, what were you in? You must have been in college.
No, I was in high school. I was a freshman.
Oh, my God. You were spinning discs in Chevy Chase, Maryland. That's how long ago it was.
That's right. I was sitting at my friend Leslie Feinberg's house.
Enjoy the day and enjoy the coverage.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking at the Post now.
I mean, I'm looking at the headline. I like to read the story, but the headline is not good.
But it's the New York Post headline,
right?
About I'm sorry, with all due respect, about the White House. So
yeah, but Corinne Jean-Pierre said our thoughts are with the families with his families during this difficult time, obviously with his family and loved ones. And I'll say this, I know that they have asked for some privacy, so we're going to respect that. I'll just leave it there.
But what was the question that led into that?
Don't know. If she opened with that, it's not acceptable.
There's no way she opened the whatever statement she had today with that. I'm very down on the New York Post, though. They've not one word about Mr. C. I'm like literally shocked by it. Daily News, New York Times, every single Variety, Deadline, CNN, Good Morning America, every single place. The New York Post hasn't had one. And because they're the main place I go to see New York sort of local stories, they haven't written one thing. Very disappointed in your former outlet.
On 5 o'clock hour?
Can you get Rupee on?
Yeah.
Call Roops.
Or maybe Lachlan.
One of them.
It's only right? I
mean, this is crazy. I keep going through looking for something, but nothing there.
But if you asked,
Todd Chrisley was ordered to pay $755,000 in defamation.
But if you asked like Lachlan Murdoch about Mr. C dying, I thought Tom Bosley was dead already.
I don't get the reference.
He played Mr. C, Mr. Cunningham on Happy Days.
Oh, Mr. C, Mr. Cunningham, sure.
That's what Fonzie called him, Mr. C.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Wow. Hey, to hit a home run, everything needs to line up perfectly.
At Away, we know what real travel looks like. So when we make luggage, we think about how you actually get from place to place. How travel brings pit stops and welcome detours. How you deserve an easier, more flexible way to pack. Because when it comes to luggage, how you actually travel matters. Away, designed by travelers for travelers.
Do you want to know what I've been binge watching? Udemy courses. They have thousands of courses that help me advance my career from anywhere, especially with this little one. I need to get in as much learning as I can. For both of us.
Hey. Rental? Yep. You? Yeah. You know your shoes untied. Oh!
Don't let a boxy suit ruin your night. Read from theblackducks.com.
Custom Ink helps us celebrate and drive our students' achievements with custom gear. They love Custom Ink's different styles and designs. We love how Custom Ink makes the process simple with their easy-to-use design lab, expert artists ready to help, and unbeatable customer service. Custom Ink allows our kids to show everyone their accomplishments and the pride they have in our school. When we place an order, I know they got our back, so we can focus on the kids.
Custom Ink has hundreds of products to help you feel connected. Upload your logo or start your design today at customink.com.
Before ClickUp, we were kind of a mess. We had so many different systems that we were using to communicate and share knowledge that you kind of had to code switch every time you were talking to somebody different.
We have distributed teams all across the world. There's a clear time difference there, and I think ClickUp really helps manage all that information regardless of time. We can communicate asynchronously, and so we are able to be very productive using ClickUp.
With ButcherBox, you never have to worry about what's for dinner. We deliver grass-fed beef, organic free-range chicken, humanely raised pork, wild-caught seafood, and so much more. Get high-quality meat sourced from trusted partners with free shipping always. So you can always be prepared and enjoy the important things. Sign up for ButcherBox today.
What do you do with 72 hours, 18 holes, 4 friends, and 1 wedding? The absolute most. For however you fit, Bonobos.
My name is O'Neil Trinidad, and I want to live.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Oh, yeah. 2 hours in the books. Having a good time here on the show, although some very serious stuff to talk about. The Knicks clinched the playoff spot, which means that they're either going to be 2 through 6. They're not going to be in the play-in. And they clinched without playing last night. So they're making back-to-back postseason appearances for the first time since a 3-year streak from 2011 through the 13th. Now, the Bucks, without Giannis, they beat the Magic last night. So the Knicks are a game and a half behind the Bucks for second, which might be better off if they can finish third and play the Pacers and avoid the 76ers or the Heat. Now, we talked about this yesterday. We're not saying that they should lose. We're just trying to say what would probably be better for them.
That's all. But and besides, it's a moot point anyway. There's no way a Thibodeau team is going to tank. They're going to go out and try to finish as high as they can and win every game that they can.
Now, Bucks are in second right now, so they'll play the Thunder or the Magic. That's who they have left, the Thunder and the Magic, and both of those games are away. The Knicks are in the number 3 spot. They're at the Celtics tonight, then at home against the Nets, at home against the Bulls. The Celtics, should I say the Cavaliers are the 4th team. They're playing the Pacers and the Hornets at home. The Magic, 3 games back, they're playing at Philly, then the Bucks. The Pacers are playing at the Cavaliers and then the Hawks at home. The 76ers with the 7th spot, they're playing at home against the Magic and the Nets. And then the Heat, 5 games back, playing the Raptors and the Raptors again, both in Miami. So that's where we stand.
Lillard currently is doubtful for the Bucks, by the way.
Lillard and no Giannis. And did you see what the Celtics did? They signed Drew Holiday. 4-year deal.
I mean,
$135 million.
So I guess the back to Marcus Smart plan. By the way, and Smart ended up hurt this year. Was pretty ineffective for Memphis. They end up getting Drew Holiday and Chris. I mean, you got to give credit to Brad Stevens where it's due, man. Those moves. Listen, obviously the Celtics are truly. I mean, Michael, you think Yankees fans are championship or bust? Have to imagine the Celtics base this year is truly championship or bust. But you got to give credit where credit is due. The moves they made this offseason were special.
And there was a great story in The Athletic about Porzingis, how the Mavericks, when he was with the Mavericks, they said, this guy, we can't have him in the low post. It's not worth it having him take those shots in a 3-point league. And the team that really unlocked him was Washington on how to use him and how to use him effectively. And the Celtics noticed that and made the trade. So and they are very aware analytically of how he helps them.
Yeah, and then, of course, the Wizards were in the middle of a rebuild anyway, so they go grab him, and here we are.
So that's the Knicks story. And, again, they'll play tonight on 98.7. That's against the Celtics. The Rangers, Islanders, and Devils don't count. They're out. They're playing tonight. Where do we stand? What's going on? Who has to win? Islanders are the ones that were still dubious whether they'll make it. Looks like they will. But
and the Islanders are in Montreal tonight. Montreal just came off a 9-3 win over Philadelphia. But if you want to fancy yourself a playoff team, win tonight at the Bell Center, and you control your own destiny there. Rangers have a 3-point lead on both Carolina for the division and Boston for the conference. Boston and Carolina are idle tonight. So the Rangers win 2 games, they lock it up. The Rangers tonight against Philadelphia, Saturday afternoon at home against the Islanders, Monday night at home against Ottawa. The Hurricanes are at the Blues, at the Blackhawks, at the Blue Jackets. Kind of figure Carolina's going to win out. Right. Although St. Louis could be a tough game because St. Louis is still mathematically alive in the West. Boston at Pens, at Caps, home against the Sens. So, listen, the Pens need the game way more than Boston does. So I would think Boston's got a little bit of a tougher schedule, but the Rangers take care of business. Beat Philadelphia tonight, they're reeling. And if you win one of the 2 games to close out the season against the Islanders or the Senators, you're going to, in all likelihood, win the conference and probably win the President's Trophy, too. So the Rangers control their own destiny. They're in good shape. They're going with the same lineup tonight that they had against the Islanders on Tuesday, with the exception of Jonathan Quick. Looks like he's going to get the start. And the Islanders are, like I said, in good shape.
Do we know who the Islanders are starting in goal yet? Have they announced it?
No, they probably did. Let me take a look. I'll see. I don't know if Anthony had seen it. I thought maybe it would be, probably Sorokin, yeah. Who's in goal for the Islanders, did you see? Oh, okay, so he's going to go with Sorokin on Saturday against the Rangers, and he's going to start Varlamov tonight in Montreal. So go with the hot hand there, and we'll see what goes. But again, you control your own destiny. That's the thing that you want. You win, you're in. And that's what the Islanders have going for them.
All right, the Yankees yesterday, they lose a game, 5-2. They battled back. They threatened in the ninth inning where they had the bases loaded. Aaron Judge hit the plate, and he hits a fly ball to center field. Yankees still have the best record in baseball, and now they go on the road. Today they're off. They'll travel to Cleveland, 3 games against the Guardians, and then 3 games in Toronto against the Blue Jays. So that's where the Yankees stand right now. One thing I got to tell you all, I don't know how many people watched the game yesterday. I have never, ever, in the 38 years covering baseball, 5 years as a writer, ever seen a guy who is more exciting and more scintillating working a walk. It's unbelievable. Soto's unbelievable. I mean, it becomes like a dynamic thing the way he approaches every pitch. He's such an expert of the strike zone, and it doesn't seem like big moments, bring him down at all. He had a big double yesterday to give the Yankees their second run, and then with 2 outs and runners on first and second in the bottom of the ninth inning, he works a walk and passes the baton to Judge. So he won't expand its strike zone. Now, that sometimes has been a knock on him. In big moments, you have to expand your strike zone. But, Don, not when Aaron Judge is hitting behind you.
No.
Just get on base. Pass the baton. He is something else.
When exactly is it a bad thing for you to get on base, even in a one-run game with Judge hitting behind you? And I know Judge is struggling. He's batting .250 or whatever, but
175.
Well, so
Stanton's hitting .250.
It's going to come around. It's going to be something you want. And I'm sorry, I don't want my batter going against how he approaches things. Now, if it's on the corner, Michael, and you're struck out looking, you want to see him swing, but he's going to get his pitch. He's going to hit it. If he doesn't get it, he's going to walk. And I can't imagine with Judge and Stanton coming up after him that you're ever going to look at that as a bad thing. Now, if Judge ends up hitting 175 the rest of the season, then maybe you're going to have to make an adjustment. And if that happens, then it probably would be a shakeup in the order anyway. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Get on base and pass the baton. That's always when the Yankees are at their best, Michael, when they're making starting pitchers work and they're passing the baton.
Don, can we please, I beg you to do this all the time. Can we give the Mets some love? That was a big win today.
Well, again,
they won
where's
2
the Met
out
game?
of 3.
Where was the Met game today?
It was on TV.
Right, and where is it on TV?
On SNY.
And where is it on SNY in the studio? Parked behind the light. Why do I always get that? Why does that always happen to me? I just want to know. The Met, you got the Masters right there next to the clock for Peter.
I love it.
You might as well have it sitting in his lap. And then the Mets are always behind the light.
But they won.
But I did. I listened on the way in. And I watched it at Brownshire Studio. Had some nice lunch. And they
enjoyed yourself like gentlemen.
You had lunch with Brownshire?
I ate.
Did he pay?
No, I went to his studio.
Okay.
Because I didn't think the Fordham kids need to watch me eat.
And they watch me eat.
And me too.
Well, I didn't.
You're classy.
So I went in there and I watched the Mets of Brownshire. We listened to some music together. And then I came in here and looked at a light with half the TV. But they were up 12 by, what was it, 10-3 at that point.
Now, rest assured, everybody, rest assured. Don's not missing anything now because once the Met game was over, we turn off SNY because there's nothing on at this time that we'd be interested in seeing.
Not anything anyone
and I
would
think
watch.
most people feel that way.
If only if you look at the evidence.
I got a hankering to see Grizzly Adams for some reason, but I can't figure out why.
Talk about a guy with a beard, though.
But no, Don's beard.
You got to explain it to him. No jokes are funny when they got to be explained.
I know. And Don's beard is
Shecky Green didn't have an interpreter standing next to him on the stage. People laughed. If you don't know Shecky Green, Wikipedia. I like the fact they took 2 out of 3 because the game that they got rained out yesterday is going to be made up in September. So you follow up the embarrassment of the 0-5 start to the season by taking 2 out of 3 from Cincinnati. You take 2 out of 3 from the Braves. You get decent starting pitching tonight, but you haven't all season. But now the bats are starting to warm up a little bit. This team is going to go as far as the bats take them. Would you agree with that? Bullpen's not great.
No.
You don't agree with that?
No. They have to give it. It's only going to go as far as the pitching. I assume that.
No, but but that's what I'm saying is they're going to have to get carried by their offense until Senga comes back. Maybe. They just don't have the starting pitching, Michael. They're not going to survive unless they bludgeon teams like they did today. You're not going to get any length until Senga comes back, and Quintana's good. And listen, they might get better, but right now they've been able to survive because they've been able to hit now recently. That's what's turned them around in Cincinnati and in Atlanta. They've been able to hit the ball. So, and Michael, they almost swept this series. They came back from 6-0 down, made it 6-5. And the Braves have kind of like the Houston Jays, right? That's a team that's always been a problem for the Mets, the way the Astros have been a problem for the Yankees, although the Astros aren't winning, Michael. They lost again today, I think.
To Kansas City, and Kansas City's playing the Mets this weekend. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, you look at it and think that should be easy, but it may not be. But I'm not trying to diminish what the Yankees have done, but you take a look at what Houston's record is, the Diamondbacks, and we know the Marlins are awful. So you were impressed by what they did against the team you could never beat and against the defending National League champions. But maybe you caught those teams at the right time.
But then you beat, the Blue Jays. I mean, you're beating everybody.
Right.
They didn't make the schedule up.
Michael, I got to tell you, as much as the Astros own the Yankees, the Yankees own the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays just cower in the presence of the Yankees. Am I wrong, Peter? And I like the Blue Jays. I like the Blue Jays to do well. But in any big spot with the Yankees, when did they come up?
Not in a long time.
You got to go back to like Dave Stewart and Cito Gaston.
I was going to say, Cito. Joe Carter?
Yeah, you got to go back, Michael.
All right, let's not go back. But the Yankees will go to Cleveland to play the Guardians. The Mets are going to get the Anthony. You know who we should have on tomorrow? See if you agree. Sunday is Dwight Gooden Day. I think we have to have Doc on.
I would love to have Doc on.
Yeah.
Can you make that happen?
Let's do that, Anthony. Could we do that?
I'll put it in an ask.
And also, I'd like to get Robert Shapiro on, the one of the last remaining people alive that was part of the OJ defense.
Wow, that's right. Strong. Between Shapiro and Dershowitz.
I don't think he could get Dershowitz. That's why I didn't ask.
Really?
Yeah.
You think he gets Shapiro's only 81?
Only 81.
I'm sure he's very spry.
Yeah. He was kind of pushed out though by Cochran because he was the lead attorney.
He was.
Yeah. What a mess. O.J. Simpson passed away, prostate cancer. It's such a complicated story. A great football player at USC, great football player with the Bills, but his whole legacy is what happened on that night in 1994. Now, a jury of his peers found him not guilty. In a civil trial, he was found guilty. And if you even forget about that, then the stuff he did with the memorabilia where he actually did go to jail.
Yes, he did.
The second act of his career was movie star and broadcaster. The third act of his career completely ruined the other two acts.
It's just so sad for us, Michael, and even Peter to a certain extent, that there are so many people that are important in our lives and our listeners that weren't old enough to remember any of this happening. It's crazy. It's kind of like JFK for us. I wasn't alive, and you were 1 or 2, right? So it's a big moment in this country's history. And there's a lot of people that don't remember it. And so you kind of have to, it's left to us to describe what was going on there. And he was just, there wasn't anybody who didn't know O.J. Simpson. And I remember there being people that knew O.J. Simpson that thought he was a basketball player. Like the football player wasn't even the reason why they knew him. They knew him from the Hertz commercials. They knew him from the Naked Gun movies. They knew him from just being a charismatic figure. And the comp that I come up with is like a Michael Strahan, who's like a very popular guy that has made himself a name in all different walks of life beyond his football career. That's what O.J. Simpson was able to do. And then he's accused of murdering his wife and his wife's friend or lover, however you want to describe it, in as brutal a fashion as possible. It's right out of a movie.
Insane.
And then he's in the Bronco. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Is he running to Mexico? Is he going to kill himself? It's on national television where they actually interrupt the NBA Finals.
But you're explaining exactly why it's getting the billing it's getting today. Because when
it
you
was
really,
a seminal moment in this country.
and if you were, and Don just explained it really well. Like if you were to explain to an alien why it's so crazy, you get why it became what it became.
I understand. But let's be honest. It is a thing because he was accused of murdering 2 people. If he had been just a football player, if he had never done that, would he be getting the attention it's getting?
No.
Now, if you want to give attention to the anniversary of the moment, but I don't know, it's a little disturbing to me. I see his face and I see, his birth and his death, and I'm sorry, it's really difficult for me to celebrate this man.
Now, I usually don't read tweets from Geraldo Rivera, but he obviously covered the trial. This is what he wrote on X. I usually don't speak ill of the dead, but O.J. Simpson doesn't deserve that mercy. He was an enraged, obsessively jealous double murderer who hid his rage behind a mask of affability. He exploited our nation's racial divide to avoid being found guilty of the brutal slasher killings he perpetrated on Nicole Brown Simpson, his children's mother, and her friend Ronald Goldman. O.J. nearly decapitated them, then left town, only to skulk back via the infamous white Bronco 405 freeway car chase, ending in a downtown L.A. courtroom where a nearly all-black jury, before a nearly all-black jury. When the killer's glove didn't fit, he was acquitted after the most sensational televised criminal trial in history. The diametrically opposed reaction in real time of the elated black community and the outraged white community to the verdict spoke more potently about America's racial divide than any thoughtful essay ever could.
Who wrote that?
Geraldo Rivera.
That's pretty well said. There always was a piece of incredible. There was so much irony in the O.J. verdict, and as I got older, I understood more from friends and listening to people and their experience. I listened to people who explained to me why, even though they didn't really have any love for O.J., they took some satisfaction in seeing the shoe on the other foot, right? And I understood that. As I got older, I came to have a bit of an understanding of why that was. The irony in all of that, though, is that O.J. was basically publicly sort of embraced in that moment by a large portion of the black community, a community that he had widely abandoned in his success.
That's what made it so weird.
He ran out, married the whitest woman on planet Earth. He was not Jim Brown, okay? This was not a hero of the community at all. And then, ironically, the black community, which is incredibly a forgiving community, particularly because people have a shared experience, and when they see someone get attacked, they go, well, we know that experience. They kind of took O.J. back and gave him grace. And so it's layered with irony that we were so split as a nation, and I don't think any of it had to do with any particular fondness for O.J. Orenthal James Simpson, the person. It was like this confluence of events: the Rodney King verdict, the sadness and anger around police brutality, the injustice and racism of the justice system towards black Americans, and then white people having this feeling of like, hey, I'm watching a trial, this feels unfair, and sort of getting a taste of that. I don't get it. It all just came together into this nasty stew, but very little was about the character of O.J., who I think most people, no matter how you felt at the time, I don't think anyone had a true fondness at that moment for O.J. the man.
I think O.J. the personality was people were very fond of
prior to 94.
Oh yeah.
But I think as the trial unfolded and people started talking, I think people, you almost would have to be in complete denial to have actually believed this is an innocent man who's just wrong place, wrong time. I mean, we could look at other trials that have happened in U.S. history and go, I have a lot of questions about that. The O.J. one, as we pointed out earlier, this was a guy who, from the very beginning when he was on the run, it made no sense. If you had nothing to do with the death of your ex-wife, were they currently separated or divorced?
Separated.
So this is your estranged wife still. And she was nearly decapitated in brutal fashion. The idea that your gut reaction would be to go on the run rather than be immediately, and especially when you're someone who's that rich. If you were completely powerless, I could see a world in which you get scared. You go, oh my God, everybody knows that I was upset about our divorce and I'm this powerless person. They're going to think it's me. But you're O.J. Simpson. You're a national television star. You can afford every lawyer on planet Earth. Why would you go running? Why wouldn't you immediately go, I'm with the police. We're going to do everything we can to find this person.
But there are still people out there that contend that he didn't do it. And, we have to report that he didn't do it because he was found not guilty by a jury of his peers. Now, he was found guilty in a civil trial, but there are a lot of people out there that have convinced themselves that he did it or he didn't do it. So I look back on that trial, and I followed it so closely at the time, and I think that the people that were trying to prosecute him were inept. Marsha Clark was inept. The fact
Christopher
that the fact that they let Johnny Cochran pulled the bloody glove. Of course, the glove shrunk. They were drenched in blood.
And I think
of course, he couldn't fit his hand in there.
But I also think he had like a protective plastic over his hands too,
because he couldn't touch the evidence.
Right. So,
I mean, and the Bruno Malley shoes, and come on,
it was all a disaster. Did you watch the show when it was on a couple years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, they paint the picture of it pretty well. It was a completely mismanaged trial, and you mentioned it earlier. The superpower attorneys that he had on his side.
Let me ask you this, because I don't want to say he's being honored, but the way it's kind of being covered is the death of a statesman.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I felt like it this morning.
What did you hear though? Is it because death of a statesman implies that it's really sad?
But I'm just you're putting up his picture with the year he was born and the year he died. You're showing highlights of him as a football player. You're showing footage from the movies he was in and the Hertz commercial.
But you're also seeing the chase.
But that's all part of it. But would it have gone this over the top if he had been found guilty?
I think so. You think it'd be any different?
I think if
OJ died in jail today, I think it would be a huge story still.
Yeah, but I think there would have been riots in the streets.
What do you mean? If he was
found guilty?
Oh, back then?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, probably.
Right. So then there would have been that kind of. I mean,
either way, it would have led to the same thing today, though.
Right.
No matter how you cut it, it would. You can't deny that OJ was a seminal figure. Now, as I said earlier, and I'll say it again. If O.J. Simpson, just the football player, and the actor passed away, it would have been the top headline on the side of ESPN. One little thing, Hall of Famer Simpson dead at 76. And it would have been a story about it. And maybe in the NFL next season, we would have seen some stuff about it. Everything is because of this. But I think the only place I disagree with you on, Don, is I don't see them celebrating it. It's just you cannot...
I didn't say celebrate, but it does feel like there's like an honor of of the man. We lost O.J. Simpson
But, Michael, how do you draw the line? It's not honor to me. It's just huge news.
How did you cover when Charles Manson died?
Charles Manson wasn't one of the great celebrity stories of the century.
But we've admitted
it was just a murder
it's getting
story.
The coverage it's getting is because of the murders. If those murders didn't happen, you would cover it like any other former actor or athlete that passed away.
But you can't remove
on the bottom
that.
line. You'd mention it.
But you can't remove what happened.
That's why it's getting as much play.
Right. It's Manson, for lack of a better example, was only famous because of the murder part. OJ was beloved when that whole thing happened, so you can't sort of take one piece away.
It's hard to explain, but watching this morning when the news broke, it bothered me.
What are they supposed to do?
Maybe it was just the coverage ABC had. I don't know. That's the coverage that I don't know. It just felt like it was a little bit much for me.
Here's the New York Times. The New York Times, above the fold, the very top right now, is Democrats hammer a simple attack on abortion. Donald Trump did this. It's just a Trump article about the election, some other stuff. Under that, there's a break. Picture of OJ with the gloves. 2 articles. OJ Simpson, football star whose trial riveted the nation, dies at 76. Next one, OJ, made in America, made by TV. And it's an article in O.J. Simpson's Life and Trials. Television was a spotlight, a microscope, and a mirror, our TV critic writes. And it's about his effects on television. But none of them are saying, all of it's about what he meant to America as a whole, not that we lost a great man.
All right, we'll take a brief time out. Still have to talk about the Ohtani situation. Also, Anthony's showing off with all the WFUV students here because he booked Doc Gooden tomorrow for 4 o'clock.
Oh, look at that.
Well, they just cleared out. He did it.
There's still one kid.
There's only one. By the way, this kid who stayed, he's the hustler of the group.
He's pretty sharp.
He's the one who's going for
sharp,
it. You can see it.
Is there? Can Yes get footage when they do a documentary on him in about 30 years?
What, the last FUV guy?
Yeah. This is how dedicated he was.
He wanted to keep hanging out.
When everybody left, he hung out. This is one of the reasons why he became the next Bob Costas.
I love it. Peter, tell us about BetterHelp.
Trying on glasses using Warby Parker's virtual try-on is so lifelike, so realistic, that you might not even be able to tell what's real from what's virtual. Yep, it's that good. Virtually try on hundreds of styles in the Warby Parker app.
Growing up, I always wanted to do so many things.
I wanted to be a vet.
I wanted to be an actor.
When I was really little, I don't know why, but I wanted to be a pastor. When I was like a small child.
I wanted to be a celebrity by any means necessary.
This is Spike Drop Vegas Heist.
These players are playing for a lot of money today.
I'm only here for 2 feet. I don't really care about any other place.
Can't even comprehend what is going on, but I like it.
New season, new reasons to say yes.
This is star power.
Wow.
Cole dials it up. What a home run for Soto. Aaron Judge crushes one.
Get all the Yankees action. The Yes app.
Listen up, Nets World. Get into the action and lock in a 2024-25 Nets level membership. Members have it all, from exclusive events and behind-the-scenes access to discounts across merch and tickets. Not to mention the ticket flexibility in the first place, with round-the-clock management and seamless transfer to your squad. This is Brooklyn, and it's yours. Become a member today.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Playing in Yankee Stadium is the best thing that could ever happen to a ball player. It's a huge honor to put this uniform on.
World champions, team of the decade.
The Yankees are back on top.
This is the Yankees being the Yankees.
Made for him. My dad can get through the wide doorways. When he is making our lunch, he can reach anything we need. He'll help me build tiny projects. Life is good here. Without Homes for Our Troops, we'd be living in a home that didn't have all these features that helped him.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post-9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives.
If they get a new house like this one, it'll help them do normal life. My dad's not just a hero, he's my hero.
Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Step into the world of Golden Nugget Online Casino. With all the slots and table games you love, feel like you're on the casino floor no matter where you are. Score rewards by playing your favorite games and get your winnings almost instantly with lightning-fast withdrawals.
Go!
So what are you waiting for? Have a great time in your downtime. Download the Golden Nugget Online Casino app and get started today with this great offer.
What time is it? Showtime!
You know what's surprising?
Subway at 2 a.m.?
Oh, no. The prizes you could win with the new scratch-off games from the New York Lottery.
That is surprising.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Bonkers.
Seriously, that is outrageous.
Nothing surprises a New Yorker like new monthly scratch-off games from the New York Lottery. Play $10 million cash now.
Dupixent helps you do more with less asthma and can help you breathe better in as little as 2 weeks. Dupixent is an add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma that's not for sudden breathing problems. Dupixent can cause allergic reactions that can be severe. Get help right away if you have rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, tingling or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor about new or worsening joint aches and pain or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Ask your specialist about Dupixent.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your life, your career, and everything in between that we've uncovered. They're all centered on numbers. Some of the numbers might be familiar to you, but they all add up to tell your story. What do you want fans to think about when they see the number 23?
I wanted to be somebody different on the field, to be just known for baseball.
The Story of My Number, presented by the New York Lottery. New series premieres May 9th on Yes and the Yes app.
The other big story that we've been talking about is that Ohtani's interpreter sounds like he's quite a schemer.
Quite a gambler.
Yeah, the Times reported yesterday that prosecutors have uncovered evidence that Mizuhara may have stolen more money from Ohtani than the $4.5 million initially reported. We're hearing that he lost $140 million in bets. I mean, would an illegal bookie take that kind of loss from, I don't know, Steve Ballmer? I mean, I guess they would, but from some schlub? The money kept coming in. There's no way. 140, and now he won 101 million, but he lost 141 million. So he lost $40 million.
Michael, I don't know how illegal gambling works, but I would think a bookie would want to know, do you have this money? Like, do you walk in and say and plop that money down on the table and say, I'm going to bet on the Bulls tonight? Or do you make a phone call and they back you, and then when you lose, they come looking for the money? When you're going about that much money, I need to know that you have this, man.
Alden Gonzalez of ESPN has in his story that investigators also relied on recorded phone calls from the bank in which Mizuhara falsely identified himself as Ohtani to trick and deceive bank employees into authorizing the transfers. Now, that makes no sense to me. I mean, if I would try to authorize any kind of big money thing, they'd be asking me questions about the name of my dog when I grew up. I mean, I don't get how this was allowed.
Because he probably had all this information because Ohtani just couldn't be bothered. Like, this guy was completely in control of Ohtani's life. So, you know, those questions like, what street were you born on? What was the name of your first dog? What was the name of your first school? He probably had all that information. Michael, how do you prove to a bank in a wire transfer that it's you, other than answering all the questions that were set up by Ohtani when he first opened the account? And if he had all that information, then of course he'd have access. But I don't care how rich you are. How do you not notice that money being gone? Unless you're just completely oblivious. And I guess that's the minimum of what Ohtani is guilty of, being a rube.
Now, Andrew Brandt, a really smart lawyer who ran the Packers. So this 47 minutes ago, he tweeted this out. Reading complaint, it says Mizuhara called the bank and identified himself as Ohtani to authorize wire transfers from the account to people involved in an illegal gambling operation. Andrew goes, what? He just said, hey, this is Ohtani. I need to send a bookie millions. And the bank said, sure. It just doesn't
None of it adds up.
Smell test.
We said this from the very beginning. No version of this seems like it can make sense with only one person being aware. In other words, how could his interpreter have access to this money? How?
So let's operate under the assumption, because they let themselves be duped and they didn't have enough firewalls to actually stop this guy. All of his financial people must be let go. He's got to really question his agent too. Well, how does this go on without any of you seeing it? And again, that doesn't pass the smell test either. Because usually when you're working for a big money guy and you see these weird things, you let it go by because he's your ticket. But if it's not Ohtani who's doing this, and you're seeing these millions of dollars leaving his account, at least you should be looking at it.
Makes no sense.
Don't they have to stop it or question Ohtani? Hey, listen, Shohei, there's like $16 million gone from your account. Are you spending money at like 7-Eleven? What's going on here?
I guess if he says, don't worry about it, then I guess you don't worry about it.
So if it's just completely black and white, where he didn't say that, it doesn't pass the smell test. There's too many things that don't make sense.
Yes, that's just too much money to go out with anybody noticing it. Now, it was Shohei not gambling, but funding his friend's gambling problem?
Don't know.
Because the other thing that sends up a red flag for me, this is a gambling addict that made over 19,000 bets. Think about that. Peter joked about, geez, if he used promo code Peter, he'd be swimming in money right now. And not one baseball bet? Not one. You're in all kinds of trouble. You're hemorrhaging money through the eyes. You're not going to bet the one sport you know. You're only going to exclusively bet on things you don't know. Now, the answer might be, well, because he worked in baseball, didn't want to lose his job. Okay, that's an answer. But it's also an answer that says, hey, Shohei was funding this, funding his friend, and told him, listen, I'll give you the money that you need because you're my buddy, and I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't want to get your legs broken. But just promise me you're not going to bet on baseball, because if that gets back to me, I lose my job. Is that possible, too? It's all on the table, Michael, because even if you don't believe Ohtani gambled, he still might have been funding his friend's addiction. And if the guy was so important to Ohtani, he might have been funding it just to be able to have the guy keep his job.
But what's the name of it?
But then ultimately, that's what ended up losing it in the first place.
Wild.
1-800-919-3776. Let's go to the phones. Brian in Milburn. Brian.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I love your show.
Thank you.
I want to say to you, I'm a black man. All the white men in my company walked up to me, hey, boy.
Wait, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
You're breaking up.
We want to hear you, but you're breaking up.
Hello, you hear me?
Yeah,
now you're
better.
good.
Thank you.
Okay, so they all walked up to me and said, hey, your boy died. I don't like, listen, I understand he might have did it, but nobody can't get on the radio and call him a murderer because he got judged by a jury of his peers and he beat it.
Agreed.
So I just don't understand. Well, yeah, he beat it.
Yeah, we didn't call him a murderer.
No, not y'all. Not y'all. People that's calling the show. Not y'all. Yeah, keeping it real.
But you know what, Brian? There's a lot of people who think that he's a murderer.
Right, but in life, Brian, I mean, people are, I guess, entitled to their opinions, too. He lost the civil suit, so he was held responsible in some way for what happened to them. So
How old are you, Brian?
46 years old.
So you lived through it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm asking you to keep it real. You believe he didn't do it?
I don't know.
Well, why don't you tell Brian? How about just take us? Just curious, because we're three white guys here, and you're a black man. Take us through what were your feelings when the verdict came out back then in the 90s.
Well, as you know, like as we was growing, my parents and them was like, well, good for him. That's what he get for running to marrying a white girl. Some of the community was.
Right.
I gotta be blunt with y'all. They was.
Right.
They was in that good for him because we get tired of people getting money, black people getting money. Then all of a sudden they go marry a white woman. You in America, you can always marry who you want to marry, but why black people keep doing that?
So you're saying, so that was one attitude that people had is kind of that's what he gets for that's what he gets for messing with a white woman. But what did you think about when he got off? Were you happy when he got off?
I was happy he got off because they just let the police officer beat Rodney King on camera.
Yep.
I cannot forget about that.
Nope, you can't leave that out of the story. It happened right before.
They beat him. They had a riot. They beat him almost in an inch of his life, and they all got found now guilty. Because I always got to put that in the story. Because that definitely happened around the time that happened. So when he ran from the cops, nobody black was really saying that because we just seen what they did to Rodney King and got found not guilty. Come on, y'all.
Right.
And to this day, they still have it. It's like people haven't let it go. The man's dead. Why people that's Caucasian in my company keep coming up to me, oh, your man died. Well, I remember the rich billionaire white kid who just killed 4 people in the car and got 10 years probation. There's nobody saying nothing about that.
Sure.
Yeah, I think, Brian, and thank you for the call, I think that was such a polarizing moment in America where the chasm between races was accentuated.
Right.
And I think that we have not recovered. And I think, if anything, it's accentuated more and more every day.
Now, what needs to be understood here, and I understand everything that Brian is coming from, and that was something that was a major point 30 years ago, is that the white person that gets off is kind of the same reason that OJ got off. Privilege. Sometimes privilege is the color of your skin. Sometimes privilege is the money you make. He got off because he was rich, and he was able to get like 5 of the best lawyers on the planet to defend him. So sometimes it's color, sometimes it's money, and that's why he was able to get off. And that's the problem with the judicial system. If O.J. Simpson had been a bus driver making $20,000 a year, he'd be in prison right now.
Let's go to Mike in Plattsburgh. Mike.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How you doing, Mike?
Great job. We'll talk about Bob Costas in a minute, the interview. Did you guys see that in CNN today?
I heard about it because he kind of told the story you said about what was it? Kevin.
Yeah.
And Bob said that the O.J. was looking for him.
Yeah, in the car.
So he told the same story, but just switched the names around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He didn't have a cell phone. I mean, there was no cell phones at that time, but he was calling him from the car. And then later, I guess he talked to him and said, like, he was trying to tell Bob that he didn't want everybody his legacy and his image was going to be destroyed about that. And I was hoping you get Bob Costas on today or tomorrow, pick his brain a little more about that, because he looked very disturbed on CNN today.
Okay.
He really did.
Well, I might do that.
But, I mean, but another thing I want to say is $250 million, guys. I would sleep with all of my wife's friends for that. Be honest. Come on.
Yeah, but you know what? Don and Peter are very virtuous, Mike. They wouldn't do it because the guilt would kill them. It's not worth the $250. Now, I admit I would do it.
I know that. You know what? Have them do not quit Would You Wednesdays. Have Anthony be with you, and me, call me. Let them sit it out.
So for both of you, Don and I have to answer the way you want, or we're not. You asked the would you. We said no,
right?
And now we're eliminated.
You know what it is, and you're going to argue. I don't believe you guys.
But here's the
thing.
That's
why.
If the answer is so obvious, Peter, then why did he ask it in the first place?
You know what? It's 5:43. Is it too late for point, God? It's a great point.
Might be a little bit.
You're the voice of reason. Don, you're the voice of the fans. I love you, but Michael K. is the man.
Thank you, Mike.
No disrespect for big-time backs of the nation. Michael K. is the man.
You know what? It's hard for me to argue with you. It really is.
God love you.
God bless you. I love you more. Well, there you go.
So the only answer was there was only one answer. I don't know why you asked.
Yeah. But
the reason why there is no more Would You Wednesday is for this reason. You guys have had a disturbing trend of having those types of answers over and over and over again. So it's not fun anymore. It's not a fun
And then the other thing he said as a reason why he's giving it up, Peter, after you left, was because he's tired of getting picked on.
And you know what?
And his questions
You
being
brought up
analyzed.
a great point. And I'm wrong about that because the fun of the top 5 list was me going, brutal.
Yeah,
how could you do
exactly.
that? Oh, okay. But I just don't believe you guys anymore. You're not angels. Okay. You've never been angels. And you give angelic answers. But I don't buy it.
Isn't it possible?
No. It's not.
Isn't it? Hold on. Isn't it? You're the one who brought up not angels.
Right.
Isn't it possible if we're not angels, I might have experience that leads me to knowing the answer and going, yeah, I know the answer I would give, and it would be no, I wouldn't do it. Possible?
No. No.
So even if I have experience in it and you don't, you still know more than me.
He's dug it.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. $250 million. You'd never have to do another podcast. Nothing. But nothing.
But I live with guilt the whole time.
Oh, poor you.
But you say that, but you've never lived with guilt, you choir boy. Some people have been in these streets. Some people have been out here before, and guilt's not that fun.
But
I'd rather not.
It's fun with a return of $250 million. You live with the guilt.
It's not.
You could shower Natalie with gift after gift. You'd get over the guilt. I hope Diamond you could get over.
I don't think you get over guilt. You just learn to live with it and become a less happy person. That's how I believe guilt works.
Well, maybe because I'm not a happy person,
See?
I'm all right with it.
So just stack it on top of the other misery.
Hey, it's Michael K. I love when I get to talk about...
The Michael K. Show on Yes is brought to you in part by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center.
At Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, being the Northeast's best cancer center means being the best for you. Pairing the most advanced treatments with the most compassionate treatment. It takes looking at every cancer from every angle. And a care team that looks out for you and everyone you care for. It takes MSK.
After months of hibernation, it's time to reemerge. Let spring inspire you to start fresh, too, behind the wheel of a new Ford SUV, featuring power that invigorates, capability to venture way off the grid, and tech that helps you forge a new path. It's a big world. Get out there and experience it. Now, returning lessees can get an Escape for just $199 a month for 24 months, only at your local Ford stores.
Shopping done! Got a phone and a watch for the kids. Aren't you worried about social media? Nope, got Gab devices. Kids safe phones and watches. No social media, no internet.
Safe watches and phones designed for kids and teens.
1 in 6 black men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime.
But when it's caught early, it's highly treatable.
For more than 30 years, PCF has funded cutting-edge research. Go to pcf.org/knowyourrisk to learn more about prostate cancer.
It's your life.
It's going to feel like home. It's going to be electric.
This is the Yankees flexing their muscles.
He has the right demeanor.
The expectation is to win a championship.
This is the Yankees being the Yankees.
Some days are just better than others.
I think you should go talk to someone.
It's not that easy.
Have you been thinking about suicide? You can talk to me, Dad.
It's been a tough couple of months.
When I was 19 and I was going to shows, I was not thinking about permanent hearing loss. I wasn't thinking about tinnitus.
Sometimes my kids are having a conversation with me and that ringing starts in my ear. They're talking to me and I hear their voice, but I can't focus on what they're saying.
The audiologist, he told me that most of his clients are not old people. They're kids that have their earphones in.
I have a lot of regret about not protecting my ears sooner.
Protect your ears at all times, no matter what. It's not something you can get back.
When I hit 80, I needed help around the home. A friend of mine told me to call Freedom Care, and they'll pay my granddaughter to take care of me.
Funded by Medicaid, Freedom Care allows people to choose who provides their care, and the caregiver gets paid instantly after their shift.
Life is sweeter with her around.
Nana gave me so much joy as a child. Now it's my turn to return the love.
Call now to find out benefits and pay, and how fast you can get started.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here, make a statement while barely making a sound, and command the road as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. Our incredible same-game parlay gets even better when you add Profit Boost. You can still combine all of your favorite selections to increase your potential winnings, but now we're giving you the option to boost your profit up to an extra 30%. Look out for a Profit Boost on select games and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Listen up, Nets World. Get into the action and lock in a 2024-25 Nets level membership. Members have it all, from exclusive events and behind-the-scenes access to discounts across merch and tickets. Not to mention the ticket flexibility in the first place, with round-the-clock management and seamless transfer to your squad. This is Brooklyn, and it's yours. Become a member today.
Sarah, you've got this, okay? But they lost.
Not really. Not where it counts.
I was diagnosed at 65.
37. Earlier than most.
Every 9 minutes, someone is diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
And every one of them can turn to the American Parkinson Disease Association. Visit apdaparkinson.org to learn more and show your support today. I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your life, your career, and everything in between that we've uncovered. They're all centered on numbers. Some of the numbers might be familiar to you, but they all add up to tell your story. So, Nick, are you ready?
I'm ready, dude.
You're ready.
I'm ready. I was able to have my father's number within mine.
Is it true you signed over a pasta meal cooked by your grandmother, Jenny?
Joe came over to my grandma's house and we signed a contract and we had pasta that day, and I literally had completely forgot about that. That's pretty cool.
I'm so grateful that it happened the way it happened. This is how you need to go out, leave it all out there. It was perfect.
What do you want fans to think about when they see the number 23?
I wanted to be somebody different on the field, the window into how I feel about playing out there.
How do you know all this? What was going through my head was soak this in.
The story of my number, presented by the New York Lottery.
Well, I asked the question, though.
That is true. If any of the three of us get it adjacently, it would be Michael.
So that's 4 in a row for me. I think this might be the best week anyone's ever had on the show in terms of point.
I'm almost rooting. Listen, I like him, but I'm now openly rooting for Danny Hurley to get the Kentucky job, because that would really give us a lot of pub after what he just said, right?
He won't, though. He's
no, I believe him. I do believe him too. I like him too. But again, if they offer him $12 million a year, that doesn't make him a bad guy. If he says, you know what, I changed my mind, I'm going to Kentucky.
See, but you know what? He said something. He was on Jim Rome today too, and he said something on Jim Rome that's interesting. He said, "How much money is too much money?" Now, that's not a question you asked me. He said, "I mean, how much different is your life going to be with a couple of more $1 million a year?" He says, "I'm happy where I am. I have great support. People want me here." He said, "What more do you want?" It would be a spirited defense if he all of a sudden he goes to Kentucky and go, "Oh,
no, you know
what were you saying?"
Well,
Dan?
how much is he making now?
5.5, I think.
All right, so if
he'd probably get 8 in Kentucky.
Okay, so if he wants more money out of UConn, is UConn going to use like what he said? So you said that there's not really much of a difference, so we're going to give you $1 million.
I bet you that they're probably going to give him more money. They know what they have. They have the best coach in college basketball right now.
They do. They do.
The best. Best, Jerry.
After having one of the best before him. I mean, they've done a good job. They have a nice run.
Kevin Ollie was although he did win a title.
That is true. And then before him, so they've been all right.
Michael in Red Bank. Michael.
Hey, guys.
What's going on?
Well, I am a long-time listener, first-time caller, and when I found out that I was going to talk to you guys, man, my adrenaline run, because I'm such a fan of all three of you.
Oh,
thank you, Michael.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share a little bit of my OJ narrative. At the time of the trial, I was on the longest-running show in broadcast history, and when that Bronco went down, it was the Guiding Light.
Oh, okay.
That's a big show.
Yeah. And when the Bronco went down the highway and our show got interrupted, everybody ran to the TV sets. And just to give you a little historical perspective, there was no cable at that time. It was ABC, NBC, CBS, and that was it.
Well, there was cable in '94, but not to the extent that we have it now. Because there was ESPN, wasn't there?
Yeah, of course.
There was already 24-hour news.
Yeah, but there was, when you turn on the TV during the day, there was basically, the major networks were kind of where everybody went to watch content. Correct me if I'm wrong, Michael. I could be off on that. But
it's a little. I understand,
but also, I hate to mess up your story, but also this happened at night. It was Friday evening. Wasn't it already during the playoff games?
Yeah.
Everything had already started.
Yeah, NBA Finals.
The finals.
You're just talking about the trial itself.
Or do you mean the trial?
The trial, everything about it.
Okay.
And the point I'm trying to make here is that at the time soap operas were thriving, and once that trial hit, an actor turned to me and goes, "I think this is the end of us," and because that was the sort of, as we've all sort of discussed it, that was sort of the onset of reality TV, or sort of the beginning of the end for us, because our ratings just went off the cliff after that happened, because our show kept getting interrupted continuously, and the ratings started going down, salaries started being cut, actors started getting fired, and at that time there may have been 14 or 15 soap operas. I think there are 3 left now.
So wait, it's All My Children, Young and the Restless, and Bold and Beautiful, right? That's what's left?
No, General Hospital.
And Days Are Alive, so that's 4.
Well, there's 4.
Okay.
And there was 18 when I started in 1983.
Wow.
That tells you how old I am. Yeah. And, but the other part to this too is just, as Peter was so beautifully describing the narrative of what happened, it really brings up the vitriol of his passing. Kind of reminds me of what it felt like back in that day, the racial divide and the animus that was sort of permeating, even between the actors.
Yeah, and you know what? I think unfortunately, Michael.
Were you an actor?
It continues to. I'm sorry, he's gone. It continues to this day in other ways, shapes, and forms.
I was just looking at Guiding Light. I was wondering if.
Look for Michael.
Yeah, I was going to ask if he was Michael O'Leary. Oh, he was. It was Dr. Rick Bauer.
Dr. Rick. That's kind of like Dr. Drake Ramori. You know what that is?
Dr. Drake Ramori, that'd be the Matt LeBlanc character on Friends.
Very good.
Thank you.
That's because of your wife, because you never even looked at Friends.
No, I might have remembered that prior.
Good for you.
Might have.
ENN's coming up in just a moment. It's going to be interesting to see what we get on ENN. I talk for a living, whether I'm in the studio.
Car collisions are dangerous enough, but when it's an 18-wheeler truck, the results can be catastrophic. Truck accidents can cause serious injuries to other drivers and even death at low speeds. As America's largest injury firm, we know how important it is to get the compensation you deserve. With more than 1,000 lawyers, 100 offices, and more than $20 billion recovered, we are Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for a reason. Contact Morgan & Morgan right now.
There's nothing better than a Subway Series footlong, except when you add a new footlong sidekick, like the ultimate BMT with the new footlong pretzel. Nothing like a sidekick that steps up in crunch time.
Not cool, man. Every epic footlong deserves a perfect sidekick.
Did you know taking Zysol at night relieves allergies while you sleep? So you wake refreshed for a more productive day. Get 24-hour continuous relief that does not fade. Be wise all, take Zysol at night.
Isn't it absolutely bonkers that you can walk into a store, hand someone a piece of plastic, and they will willingly hand over Reese's cups? Forget flying cars. This is it. We're at the pinnacle. And meet Reese's distant but delicious cousins.
Hey, so I found a betting system that's really working great for me.
So did I. What's yours?
I set up an hour-a-week time limit on FanDuel. I can also set up wager limits, so I only bet what I can afford, and betting stays fun.
Right.
So what's your system?
What's that?
Your system. What's your system? What is that?
Every bettor has a system. Make FanDuel's responsible gaming tools a key part of yours.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Brought my +1. Jamie.
To get more hits out here, start training in here. Introducing Win Reality. Game speed pitches anywhere, anytime. Hands in sync with eyes. Confidence in sync with your progress. Be ready for real. Win Reality.
After months of hibernation, it's time to reemerge. Let spring inspire you to start fresh, too, behind the wheel of a new Ford SUV, featuring power that invigorates, capability to venture way off the grid, and tech that helps you forge a new path. It's a big world. Get out there and experience it. Now, returning lessees can get an Explorer for just $369 a month for 36 months, only at your local Ford stores.
Think you can call the shots? Prove it with NBA Pick'em. It's free and easy to play. Think the Warriors will snag more boards than the Sixers? Pick 'em. Nuggets drain more threes than the Bucks? You guessed it, pick 'em. Next, you watch the games. You get points for every correct pick, and you can even win awesome prizes. How awesome? How about autographed gear from your favorite players? Play NBA Pick'em today. Free to play at NBA.com/pick'em or on the NBA app. Pick, watch, win.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your life, your career, and everything in between that we've uncovered, they're all centered on numbers. Some of the numbers might be familiar to you, but they all add up to tell your story. What do you want fans to think about when they see the number 23?
I wanted to be somebody different on the field, to be just known for baseball.
The Story of My Number, presented by the New York Lottery. New series premieres May 9th on Yes and the Yes app.
What if you went to your secret hiding place and found this? All drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, know that you can quit. For help with drug use, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Or go to samhsa.gov/knowtherisks.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to ENN. Ray Rowe.
On TV.
It's brought to you by Security Dodge. Go see Michelle Scalisi and
Get some!
Yeah.
I'd like to start off ENN tonight by saying good evening to Michael and Don.
This team is going to go as far as the bats take them. Would you agree with that? Bullpen's not great.
No.
You don't agree with that?
No.
Good evening to Don.
Listen, if it wasn't for Ohtani, I'd probably be dead.
I was taken out of context, but
That's what drops are.
Yeah, no.
Good evening to Don.
Sunday, we're going to see Bluey.
That was not out of context.
No, that is true. And it's good. Bluey's great. Your kids might be a little too old for it.
Yeah, they're not into
Terrific.
Bluey. No.
Terrific stuff.
Good evening to Don.
Cuts his hair with a shoe.
So, Michael, you and I had a virtually clean day today.
There's nothing that we have?
Yeah.
Wow.
We did well.
Somebody must have bought votes because it's down to it's almost 50-50 now with me and Jordan in the GOAT madness.
You think Jordan bought votes? He doesn't want to lose to you?
No, I think you bought votes. So
no, not me.
I was up by, it was 70-30 this morning.
Don, don't you think it invalidates the whole thing if you beat Michael Jordan?
Everything he's done invalidates the whole
but Michael
thing.
Jackson, Madonna, that's good. That's
And Tom
okay.
Brady.
And Tom Brady.
And Wayne Gretzky.
You know what? And by the way, there's a lot of votes today. Someone went looking for votes.
Yeah, because it's 1,774 votes. It's now 50-50.
And weren't the votes for this significantly lower for the other round? So something happened here.
That's what I'm saying. Somebody bought votes. And it certainly wasn't Michael Jordan.
Are you sure of that?
How cool would that be that Michael had to buy votes to beat me?
Well, no, the cooler part would be...
That'd be cooler than beating him.
The cooler part would be that he cares that much. He's that... Because everyone knows how competitive Jordan is.
He is unbelievably competitive. If he knew this was going on, I wouldn't put it past him.
I don't think he'd buy votes, but I think it'd bother him.
Tiger's currently even through
he
7.
Lost a stroke.
No one asked.
He's even through 7. But I'm not giving up.
Who's leading?
That would be Bryson still. Mr. DeChambeau, 7 under. Yeah, Scotty Scheffler, 6 under.
It kind of broke into a little sling blade, Billy Bob Thornton.
It's supposed to be my Mike Francesa, but it runs right up against New York. How's that?
I like those French fry potatoes.
I like them New York Yankees baseball.
New York.
New York.
Speaking of New York Yankee baseball, they've got to somehow advertise it more. I must have gotten 3 or 4 texts from friends during the game.
You know what? I don't know.
Where's the game?
You know what? I don't know.
And also, how hard is it to figure out if it's not on Yes?
Thank you.
And if it's not a Friday, it's got to be on Prime.
Here's your options, okay? If you turn on Yes, it's not on Yes.
Right. It's not on Channel 11.
All right, you know what? There's no more 11.
Right.
So maybe ESPN picked it up. Okay, ESPN didn't pick it up. Maybe I'll go to FS1. Then after that,
FS1. When are they ever?
Well, but they do.
But there's no exclusivity other than Apple TV Plus and ESPN on Sunday. It's got to be on Prime if it's not on Yes. How do you not figure that out?
And bothering you. Come on, what are you, the TV guy?
And you know what? Answered everyone.
Because
I said Prime.
Because you're a mensch. You're a nice person.
They send a hot bag of crap.
Apparently, I was reading somewhere that the Peacock may tap out.
I heard, but they still want to keep that morning game on Sunday.
MLB does.
Yeah, and they're going to sell it to somebody else.
Screw you, Prime.
But you know what we haven't played today?
Monopoly.
Chutes and ladders.
Candyland.
You really
Risk.
This was one of those situations where you really got to stop on Monopoly, and that was all you needed.
Yeah, but it was just fun. Well, it became a game between Michael and myself.
Right, who come up with the next game?
Life.
Yeah. Love Life.
Life is
great
good.
game.
Career. You ever play Careers?
Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah. It's a great game. Where you put down on a sheet of paper what you want to do in your career. I always put rich.
That's not a career. Aaron,
yeah, we worked out, Michael.
Yeah, he did it. Aaron Rodgers was on the I Can Fly pod.
Sure.
Oh, boy.
Whose pod is that, Anthony?
I believe it involves planes.
Seriously?
No, I don't know whose podcast.
Okay.
Who's the guy saying, I believe I can fly?
It's not with R. Kelly.
No.
That would be a different podcast. Held in a jail cell.
Right.
Well, it doesn't...
Aaron Rodgers go to jail?
No. I'm going to leave it out because I might say something wrong.
Yeah, you should back out on
Aaron Rodgers pee? Yes, he does.
Excuse me?
Nothing.
Oh, Don. Here's Aaron Rodgers.
Too soon?
On the I Can Fly pod. This is him talking about the VP consideration of RFK.
That's what I feel like Bobby can give us, is that hope that life can be different. And just the fact that I was mentioned, I'm sure people were like, oh, he has no, political experience. How's that worked out so far? How's that worked out in our government? All these bums who've been in government forever, who are insider trading like crazy, lining their pockets during their terms and post-career. How's that working out?
Good stuff, Aaron. You're so knowledgeable. Let's go for Aaron Rodgers back on the pod. He's still not over the injury from last season, mentally, emotionally.
Did a darkness retreat. I came out of the darkness, and basically my time in Green Bay was up. I did ayahuasca, and then a week later I got traded to the Jets. And I have this incredible off-season experience in a new city, in a new town, with new teammates, a new organization, an owner for the first time, and really falling back in love with the game that I first fell in love with when I was 5 years old. And it was absolutely beautiful and special and deep and rich and yummy and just incredible. And then one of the most heartbreaking nights of my life when I played for place. Talk about an ego death. That's what it was.
I really got nothing. I mean, I'm not going to spend 2024 bashing this self-important guy. It must hurt his head to be that smart.
I'm angry. I'm angry that my friend Mr. C died yesterday, the biggest Jets fan I've ever known, and his season was his last season with his team was spent completely in the garbage because they had no plan in case that happened.
The only thing they said that I say, well, I can understand that. It was devastating.
No, I certainly understand why you'd be upset by it. But I guess the only thing in that
also, no one uses the word yummy except me describing Rick.
Exactly.
Which is just as disturbing.
But the starting the conversation with, so I'm doing ayahuasca. It's like in one sense, I appreciate his honesty. In another sense, it's like, no, man, I don't know that you have to be saying that in every conversation. I'm sorry.
Because it makes him cooler than all of us. The darkness retreat, the
pooping on himself after the ayahuasca.
He is cooler and more evolved than us, and he likes to remind us. And you know what? I'm glad he does. I'm glad that every single time he opens his mouth, I know I'm a lot different than Aaron Rodgers.
I have two more clips. One's 35 seconds, one is 19 seconds. Over under on nozzly things he says that makes us all sort of cringe.
2.
I'm putting it at 1.5.
I'm over.
You want to go over, Don?
Over.
You're both going over 1.5. There's only 54 seconds left to play.
He can do that. He can do that in 10 seconds.
We'll get a bell. Right, who's the judge?
Let me find my ding. What page is my ding on?
Excuse me?
Add it to the list.
That's the winner next year.
Put it on the ENN audio page for me.
K-Elements, the blue one.
Just put it on ENN audio for me if you don't mind. Here we go. I found my ding. Here we go. Aaron Rodgers on the I Can Fly pod.
I was heartbroken on September 11th in the locker room thinking my career might be over. And that's how I'm going to go out. After all the beauty in the summer and Hard Knocks and a new team and just being in New Jersey and the excitement, talking with our amazing fan base and just feeling just the energy and the momentum building. And then that. I look back now and so much changed in my life for the better. And I often have a hard time with people who say, everything happens for a reason. Just got to trust it. Sometimes I call on that. Part of it is the ego wanting things to just be a little bit easier sometimes.
Nothing. That was all legitimate.
You guys are down to 19 seconds, and you need 2 here to get a win. Let's see. Here it is. This is a little bit more of A-Raj.
So much happened in my life the last 6 months that never would have happened had I been healthy. I wish things had been different for myself, for the organization, for our fans, for so many players that I love playing with. But I'm also very grateful for the many lessons and once again, the ego death and the phoenix rising from the ashes. A better version of myself.
I think you might have caught 2. A second ego death and a phoenix rising at the end.
That was
last minute.
Now, Anthony, conspicuously absent is the John quote. Are we staying away from that or what?
Well, I don't know if that was. I have what's in our system.
Okay.
Oh, see, well, that's not an answer.
So he speculated that JFK Jr. was taken out. The plane crash wasn't an accident.
Right.
I want to hear it again. That's what I heard earlier, so it had to be somewhere.
I'd love to go.
And he also implied that right now RFK Jr. is in danger. Him running for president, he's in danger, implying that a similar fate may be awaiting Robert because of what happened to his dad, what happened to his uncle, what happened to his
People
cousin.
are going to take out Robert Kennedy because they're scared of him getting 0.5% in the election. I mean, what's the...
Well, I think they're scared of him tilting the election one way or the other.
Oh, so Michael, you also believe that?
I don't believe anything. I have no belief system.
Well, you have a hunch, though.
No, I don't even have a hunch.
But you've given us a reason why he should be scared.
No, I mean, any public figure that doesn't have security and they're not giving him Secret Service protection, I guess you have to be concerned if you're him, especially with his family's history.
It's interesting because it's not like anything Rogers said there politically was like super out there risky, you know, saying that honestly, you don't love
he's not
what we have, but at the same time
he's supporting his guy. Listen, is he really any different? Let's be honest here. It's odd because it's an independent and it's a guy that's not going to win. But is it any different than somebody that's supporting Biden or supporting Trump? My candidate can make things better. We're in a bad place right now. The other politicians are crooked. No, it's no different. He's throwing support to his guy.
No, it's just interesting. So real quick, you have a problem with the same old of government. These career politicians. So you're going to support granted the very weird version, but a member of the most decorated political family in the history of our country. Right. Not exactly. You didn't exactly go find someone out of nowhere.
I did.
His name is Robert Kennedy.
But it just shows you how sometimes he is very smart. Because he did say today, going back to JFK, meaning after JFK was killed, that's when it all went apart. See?
It was fine up till then.
But, you know,
so
Ted was in Senate.
He didn't like LBJ.
Not an LBJ
Didn't
guy.
like Nixon.
No.
Didn't like Reagan. Didn't like Jimmy.
You skipped Gerald.
Didn't like Gerald. Didn't like Jimmy.
What's up, baby? You good?
Didn't like Ronnie. Didn't like
George.
Barack,
GHW.
George didn't like them.
No.
And didn't like Trump and doesn't like Biden.
What's his... yeah, I'm curious. I want to hear... You know what I want him to hear him open up a little bit more on Barack. Why he's so anti-Barack.
Well, because, again, he's very strategic. I have answers for you.
Because he's never said that. I haven't heard him go on.
He doesn't like the two-party system.
So he'll just chalk it up to that. Because didn't he... What was the word he used to call them all? Hacks? Or they're all bums? I think bums.
I think he said bums. But he doesn't like the whole,
bleeping bums. You know what? I want to see him say it to Barack's face. That's what I like. And by the way, Barack, a football fan. I want to see that conversation. I don't think he'd say it. Let's hear from Jeremy Schaap, who I love getting perspective on big sports stories like the passing of O.J. Simpson. Here's an interesting story, Michael. Jeremy Schaap was on with Greeny telling a story about Jim Brown's thoughts on O.J. Simpson.
Okay.
I'll never forget this. Maybe just a few days after the murders took place, I was out in Los Angeles covering, the story, the investigation, the arrest, the chase, the murders, all that. And I was working with Andrea Kramer, the longtime ESPN reporter, and we went to Jim Brown's house. to interview Jim Brown about O.J. Simpson. And I remember sitting down across from Jim, and Jim said, I don't remember the exact words verbatim, but he said words to the effect of pointing at the camera, is that thing on? And I indicated him, yes, we're rolling. And he looked right into the camera, past me, past Andrea, and said, O.J., for once in your life, be a man and admit what you did. And that's a pretty loaded statement, right? And I don't think we used it. It might have been too prejudicial, too presumptive, however you want to characterize it. But it gives you a sense of how Jim Brown felt about O.J. Simpson. And Jim Brown was far from an angel, as we know as well.
Interesting.
Well, Jose Canseco has rung in.
Okay.
No less credible a figure.
Hey, he was right about the steroids.
He
right,
said
Michael?
O.J. Simpson was a murderer. His death should not be glorified. Jose Canseco
said that.
2-line tweet.
Jose, but remember, he took that fly ball right off the top of his head.
You don't think he's recovered? That was like 1989.
Don, you don't know the effects of a head trauma like that.
Well,
could be so many things. Hey, let's ask Mel Kiper a question. I don't know if you guys know, the draft is rapidly approaching.
Yeah, I'm hearing that.
And Mel Kiper Jr. was on a DNR. Will the Giants take a QB somewhere in this draft?
It seems like it. Personally, I get it. I like Daniel Jones. And I always have. You guys know that. You got to give guys some help. That's why I always said taking a quarterback at 6, well, you're hanging Daniel Jones out to dry. You're basically doing what the New England Patriots did to Mac Jones. I guess the Joneses just can't do very good here. They did it with David Carr in Houston. You can't forget about your quarterback, guys. They're not Superman. So these teams want to blame the quarterback and cut the quarterback, move on from the quarterback. Everybody wants to rip the quarterback. Quarterback's going to be as good as the players around them. So if you're going to put an offensive line that can't protect, they're all late blocking, you can't let the big time receiver. They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since 2018. They haven't had any explosive pass plays since Daniel Jones came in. Why? Because they don't have any receivers that can be explosive. So that's why I gave them the most explosive receiver in this draft, which is Malik Neighbors.
I'll tell you what, I give Mel credit. He continues to bang the drum for Daniel Jones.
He's been pretty consistent in that.
He's been on with us, he says it. It's the Giants' fault. But there are quarterbacks that don't have much protection, and they're much better than Daniel Jones.
But, there's a combination of no protection and no weapons. Now, we'll see if one wide receiver, a rookie at that, is going to change things. But, Michael, if they don't like any of these quarterbacks and they're paying Daniel Jones $40 million this year, and they think that a great wide receiver like Neighbors can change the narrative and you redo the offensive line, isn't that better than drafting a quarterback you really don't like just for the sake of, hey, we picked a quarterback?
Of course. Of course it does. Is Malik Neighbors any relation to Jim Neighbors?
Well, he's decided to spell it differently.
Oh, okay.
So I would think no.
Maybe
Tigers
the distance
currently
himself.
even
for
7.
It's a stroke.
No one asked.
But you know what we haven't played today?
Monopoly.
Let me find my ding. What page is my ding
Excuse
on?
me?
I found my ding.
Are you bored? You didn't like our conversation?
I was just updating everyone with everything that's happened so far.
So like highlights.
I mean, I felt like the Neighbors conversation had worked its way out. We were done with it now. You said related to Neighbors. You said spelled differently.
Do you even know who Jim Neighbors is?
He's
unbelievable.
Jim
We're living in
Neighbors.
different worlds.
Gomer Pyle.
I was going to say he's an actor.
Well, he's not quite like Cary Grant. He's Gomer Pyle.
And he had a great voice.
Gomer Pyle was an impactful character.
Do you remember Me, Myself, and Irene?
Sure.
When they're looking at him singing at the campfire, listen to that voice.
Yeah,
That's Gomer Pyle.
He sang the national anthem at
no, he would
Indy
sing
500, right?
No, he would sing what is it? The Indiana song. Back home in Indiana, he'd always sing that to get things started for the Indianapolis 500.
Oh, well, I'm glad we covered that today. Hey,
he doesn't know Jim Neighbors. That's crazy.
I now remember, and I certainly remember. That's Gomer Pyle. How happy Jimmy Carrey was pointing out to his kids, who are not his kids.
You watch Richard Pryor. Okay.
Tom Brady was on the Deep Cut Pod, and Michael, you all right?
Just wandered off.
Michael we lost him mid-show.
Very odd ENN. I love every second of it.
Tom Brady was on the Deep Cut Pod, and he had some thoughts on Josh Allen and his future.
Next quarterback to win a Super Bowl that hasn't won yet. I like Josh Allen a lot. I think he's. I'd say I pick Josh.
Josh?
Yeah, I like Josh a lot as a guy, as a leader. But he's got to get past the Chiefs, and that's hard because Patrick's incredible in the way he leads that team.
Now, real quick. So that's the warm-up conversation about Josh
Tom
Allen.
didn't get worried about the Stephon Diggs trade?
He's not as worried as everyone else is. But Tom Brady, also on the Deep Cut pod. Are you completely writing off a comeback one day, Tom?
One day there's a situation, right? Maybe it's the 49ers. Maybe, heading to the playoffs. Offense is great.
Patriots, somebody, Raiders, could be. You never know.
God forbid somebody goes down. Would you pick up that phone?
I'm not opposed to it. If they would, I don't know if they're going to let me if I become an owner in an NFL team, but I don't know if, I don't know. I'm always going to be in good shape. I'll always be able to throw the ball. So to come in for a little bit, like MJ coming back, I don't know if they let me, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
That's whose pod is the Deep Cut pod?
Nobody's answering your question.
No.
I think it's right next to the I Can Fly pod.
I can't even do it. But that's that was pretty much a resounding I'm down to come back as far as I could tell.
Fox must be thrilled.
I mean,
they're trying to plan their.
By the way, they deserve what they get with the money they throw at these guys to call games that you could have Bear and Rocky. If they announced that Bear and Rocky were going to be the #1 team on Fox next season, and all Rocky did was cough for 3.5 hours, it would make no difference for ratings.
They never paid attention to our comments about Here Comes Football.
I know. They should have listened to you guys. And Michael, with that bat, Michael's holding I'd say 5.5 foot high bat.
See, I'm 6'4".
I nailed it, I think. Maybe, 5.5 feet, Don?
Not 5.
5 feet. Don, Michael's holding a 5-foot bat with an American flag grip on it.
Now, there's a story behind it.
You could hold that up, and you could do a Here Comes Baseball intro.
And this was in this garbage bin outside. And I said, I'm taking this home. This would look great in my office. Now, I want to see if they let me leave the building with it.
Of course they will.
No. If you have, if I just took a TV, they'd stop me.
No, but
this was in the garbage.
That's not a TV. You're going to walk out with that no problem. You kidding me?
And if they try to come at you,
hit them with the bat.
You got one of the biggest bats I've ever seen.
Excuse me?
Thank you.
That'll do it for ENN. Brought to you by Security Dodge. Shop 24/7 at securitydodge.com during their Dodge Power Shot Days Jeep celebration event and Ram truck month.
Never heard an ENN as odd as this one, and it was fantastic.
So do you have anything to do with the Rangers coming up?
Pre and post.
Oh, all right, good.
I'm going to do the pre on 1050 because the Knicks are on 98.7.
Right.
And I'm going to, like a gentleman, get on the subway, go to MSG, go to the
that's right. You're wearing a sport coat today.
Eat some delicious Korean barbecue wings.
Yeah, I like those wings.
And a burger. They very underrated.
The burgers are great.
Yeah, they really know what they're doing.
They're almost Weep-worthy.
They didn't have them last time I was there.
They took away Weep-worthy chicken fingers and they put a burger in.
They added the Weep-worthy burger.
Is it Pat LaFrida or is that the Mets that have Pat LaFrida?
Pat Morita.
No, not Pat Morita. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbye. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See you, everybody. Big show tomorrow.
That's a wrap on the show for today. For all of us here on the Michael Kay Show, this is Chris Sheeran saying have a great night. We'll see you next time. Show on Yes is presented by Untuck It. Shirts designed to be worn untucked. Shop now at untuckit.com.
The best ideas come from solving common problems. My problem, like a lot of other men, I couldn't find a shirt that looked good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
You think Atlanta's point guard is good for 20 tonight?
No question. You hear he got name dropped on that new song? He feeling himself for sure.
Ever since that track drop, he been on fire.
The hook literally says his name 8 times in a row. He might go for 30.
With that much hype, I'd lock it in. But that's just me.
Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Cash in on your sports fandom with Prize Picks.
Is it possible to be more capable and more practical? Be able to perform here and here. Make a statement while barely making a sound. And command the road, as well as what lies ahead. How we get there matters. Get exceptional offers at your local Audi dealer.
Does it again?
We're dogs out here.
There was barking in the dugout.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. Innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions. Telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Free to play with a chance at $2,000 every day. Reward Machine is your chance at the #1 feeling, winning. Ranking higher than the 34th best feeling, successfully avoiding your neighbor.
This is Tonal, where every rep is analyzed, so your workout is optimized. This is Personal. This is Tonal.
I'm former Major League pitcher Andy Pettit. I teamed up with Tunnel to Towers after seeing their life-changing work with military and first responder families. Now we're expanding our mission to help veterans struggling with homelessness. We want to help them rebuild their lives not only by giving them a home, but by providing the services they